First day of spring. It's beautiful outside. The trees are in bloom. It's just a perfect day. Notice of this meeting stating the date, place, and time has been disseminated as required under the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. This meeting is called to order. Mr. Clerk, please conduct the prayer and flag salute.
God of the universe, look thou with favor upon these here assembled, and bestow thy guidance upon the members of the governing body in their deliberations. This we ask in thy name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. In the event of an emergency, the proper method for exiting the council chambers is through the 3 doors in the rear of the room. Occupants should proceed down the staircase, out the front door, and move away from the area of the front steps. Any member of the public wishing to speak during the public comment session at the end of the meeting to please sign in on the sheets provided in the front of the room. Please turn off all cell phones or place them on vibrate. If you must make a phone call, please leave the chambers to do so. Mr. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Colbus.
Here.
Koziel.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Armstead.
Here.
Cosby Hurling.
Here.
Sadowski.
Here.
Sheehy.
Here.
Yamakaitis.
Here.
Frazier.
Here.
Kaczynski.
Here.
Mr. Moore.
Here. We have some presentations this evening, and I'd like to ask the mayor and Mr. Sheehy to come down and make a presentation for New Jersey Association of Health, Physical Education, Recreation Dance Teacher of the Year Award.
Good evening, everybody. It's on. Good evening, everyone. I'm proud to be up here tonight. Tonight, we have one of our own, a Linden girl. She's born and raised, became a teacher in this town, and she just became the teacher of the year, the dance teacher of the year. Mrs. Brady, I've been well blessed that all 4 of my children have been in contact with Mrs. Brady, and it shows. She's done an excellent job helping to form my children. And I'd like to say that couple gifts in this world is if you can have a job that you love, to wake up every morning and go to a job you love and have healthy children. And it's 2 of the biggest blessings in the world, and Mrs. Brady has them both, and she is appreciative of it. Tonight, the mayor is going to read a resolution for Mrs. Brady. I wish she would come up and bring her family, please. And Mrs. Greco, please come up too. Thank you so much. Stand right. And if anyone knows Mrs. Greco, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. They're like clones. They've done so much with the culture committee and the plays. Every play and musical in this town, I guarantee you one of the 2 is involved in it if both of them aren't involved in it. I'd like to have the mayor read the resolution for Mrs. Brady, please.
Thank you, Councilman Sheehy, and I'd just like to say it's an honor to read this resolution to Barbara Brady, the Brady family, and the Greco family, who are a tremendous asset to the city of Linden, whether it be the cultural committee, the school, or any other activity. They're always there to promote our city, and I thank them for that. Whereas Barbara Jude Brady was born and raised in Linden, New Jersey, and graduated from Keene College of New Jersey in 1993 with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Health and Physical Education, and whereas she began her teaching career at Franklin High School and Sampson Smith Middle School in Somerset, New Jersey, where she also served as assistant coach of the varsity field hockey team, the dance team coach, and the choreographer of the annual school musical. Whereas Mrs. Brady in 1998 began her Linden teaching career at McManus Middle School, and the following year was assigned to Linden High School, where she taught physical education and dance. And whereas in 2001 she established a full-time dance program at Linden High School that now has over 125 students enrolled. And whereas since 1998 the Linden High School Dance Company has performed throughout the state and is widely recognized for its performances. And whereas Mrs. Brady has also worked as a professional dancer and has worked with Broadway shows such as Cats and Jerome Robbins Broadway. She has also performed with the New Jersey Ballet Company, the Joffrey Ballet, and the New Jersey State Opera. And whereas she has produced, directed, and choreographed over 65 shows since 1992 and is co-founder and president of Mystic Vision Players and has participated in many other such activities and has received many professional reorganizations for her accomplishments. And whereas Barbara Brady has been named the New Jersey Association for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance Teacher of the Year Award. And whereas it is fitting that the mayor and council of the city of Linden recognize her accomplishments and nomination as Teacher of the Year. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council of the city of Linden, do hereby wish to acknowledge and congratulate Barbara Jude Brady on her being named the New Jersey Association for Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance Teacher of the Year Award, and wish her the best of luck and success. And be it further resolved that this resolution be entered in the minutes of the council of the city of Linden, and that a copy hereof be presented to Barbara Jude Brady in recognition of her achievements. Signed, Council President James Moore, Mayor Richard Gerbunka. Congratulations, Barbara.
Hang on, I'd like to bring up, I'm sorry. That's all right. I'd like to bring up Nora Mislin from the Cultural Committee.
As the mayor stated in the resolution, Barbara is the president and co-founder of Linden's resident theater company group, Mystic Vision Players, for the past 20 years. We are celebrating that this year. And Mystic Vision and the Linden Cultural and Heritage Committee have been partners together since 1995, putting on many, many, many wonderful award-winning shows at the Linden High School and other venues. This is just on behalf of the Cultural and Heritage Committee. We thank you for your years of dedication and giving so much to the arts for the people of Linden.
I'd like to bring up Emmanuel Donaldson. He's the president of the Mayor's Youth Commission, and he's known by the youth in the city of Linden as the Rev. Please come up, Rev.
Hello, everybody. Once again, Mrs. Brady, thank you for your service and your commitment. And the unknown author once said, teaching creates all other professions. On behalf of the Linden Mayor's Youth Commission, Mayor Richard Gerbunka, and the Mayor's Youth Commission Board, I want to congratulate you on receiving such a high honor. As most of us know, you are here, Linden High School teacher, and they have recognized you in the association for your advancement and your education about a healthy lifestyle. Thank you for your continuous support to the growth and development of all our children. Thank you for your passion for excellence. And I want to give you a small token of our appreciation for your service and commitment to the youth, parents, and faculty at Linden High School and the city as a whole. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Brady. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I ask you to stay on the floor and to ask Councilwoman Cosby Hurley to participate in the next presentation.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here with my neighbor in celebration of her 107th birthday, Mrs. Hattie Bannister. We are here recognizing her birthday as part of the Women's History celebration this month. And 107, that's all I can't even imagine it, but God willing, some of us will get there as well. So I celebrated with Mrs. Bannister on her birthday at the Southern Smokehouse. She also had a celebration at the Senior Center that she attends on a regular basis. So we're here tonight just to give, honor to your birthday and glory to God. And the mayor's going to read the resolution.
Hattie, it truly is an honor to present this resolution on your 107th birthday. I've presented you with numerous resolutions over the years. And City Clerk, I just want to direct you to start preparing Hattie's 108th birthday resolution, okay? Whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background helped create the foundations of this nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. And whereas American women have played and continue to play a critical role in every sphere of our nation's life by their many contributions to American society, and whereas Hattie Bannister was born on March 5th, 1905 in Pinewood, South Carolina, and has celebrated her 107th birthday. And whereas Hattie was the oldest of 7 children and left school in the 6th grade to care for her 6 siblings and ill mother, and whereas she performed various jobs to help support her family, including picking cotton, chopping wood, housekeeping, and cooking, whereas Hattie married her late husband, James Bannister, at the age of 22 and took over the role of a mother to his 6 children, and she and James eventually had 15 of their own children, of which only 9 survived birth. And whereas Hattie has 60 grandchildren, 100 great-grandchildren, and 47 great-great-grandchildren, and whereas Hattie Bannister has resided in the city of Linden for the past 15 years and currently lives with her daughter Queen at the Linden Housing Authority, and whereas Hattie Bannister has throughout her life in her own way contributed to the economic, cultural, and social role of the development of our country, now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council of the city of Linden that they recognize the life of Hattie Bannister on the occasion of Women's History Month, and be it resolved that a copy of this resolution be presented to Hattie Bannister to mark this event, and that it be spread upon the minutes of the City Council of the City of Linden. Signed, James Moore, Council President, Mayor Richard Gerbunka.
Want to say a couple of words?
I born 1905, and people don't think I'm 107 years old. I told them if they don't believe me, count from 1905, and they'll know. The 5th of March, 5 o'clock, my mother told me I come in this world, and I remember it from that day up to this day. And I am the oldest one out of all my mother's children. My mother gone, my father gone, my sister's gone, my brother gone, my auntie gone, uncle and parents and all gone. And I'm the only one here. God got me here for some reason. I don't know what, but I know one thing. When he said, Hattie, you finish your course. Come on to glory. I'll be waiting there for you.
And she got all her marbles too. You see that?
Thank you. I'd like to call up honoring Marie Aslan as Mary Ann Aslan as Linden's first woman police officer as part of Women's History Month.
Congratulations.
This is our first female police officer, and yes. Yep. So when we think about Women's History Month, you think about what women have done, significant things, and so we're thinking, who was the first to do this and who was the first to do that? So she's the first female officer, and she's still going strong in the Linden Police Department, providing awesome service for all of us here. So I was excited for you to be the recipient of this award, no problem. And we look forward to a lot more women stepping forward and doing big things for the city of Linden. You don't have to be elected, you don't have to have a city job or anything like that. We just want people who are willing to be community-oriented and do good work. So we thank you for your service and appreciate you. And the mayor has a resolution he's going to read for you.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Myself and Sergeant Mary Ann Estalis Aslan did serve together for a short time on the police department, and she was a exemplary police officer, and she's an exemplary woman and an example for all the young ladies to emulate. So I'd like to present Mary Ann Estalis Aslan with this proclamation. Whereas during Women's History Month, we recall that the pioneering legacy of our grandmothers and great-grandmothers is revealed not only in our museums and history books, but also in the fierce determination and limitless potential of our daughters and our granddaughters. And whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background served as early leaders in the forefront of every major progressive social change movement, not only to secure their own right of suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the abolition movement, the emancipation movement, the industrial labor union movement, and the modern civil rights movements. And whereas after graduating Linden High School and Montclair State University, Mary Ann Estalis Aslan saw a flyer for seeking police candidates for Linden, and realizing there was no woman on the Linden Police Department, took that first step towards equality in the Linden Police Department. And whereas Mary Ann Estalis Aslan was appointed to the Linden Police Department in 1989 as its first woman police officer, and since then has served with distinction in the Narcotics Bureau, COP Unit, Juvenile Aid Bureau, and with the Union County Strike Force. And whereas on October 1st, 2007, she was promoted to sergeant and was assigned as supervisor of the Records Bureau. And whereas Mary Ann Stiles Aslan has also dedicated herself to the Linden community by volunteering to work with Pet Adoption Waiting Station, Friends of the Linden Animal Shelter, and has organized drives to collect food for the 8 food pantries in Linden. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the City of Linden to recognize Mary Ann Stiles Aslan as a true leader in the movement for women's equality and congratulate her for having the distinction of being Linden's first woman police officer. And therefore be it resolved that a copy of this resolution be appropriately presented to Mary Ann Stiles Aslan and placed in the minutes of the City Council, signed by Council President James Moore and Mayor Richard Gerbunka. Mary Ann, again, congratulations, and it was an honor serving with you in the police department.
Thanks, Mayor, for furniture moving. Thank you. I'm going to ask for approval of the minutes of the public meeting for September 20th, 2011, October 18th, 2011, and February 21st, 2012.
Mr. President, I move for approval of the regular minutes of September 20th, 2011, October 18th, 2011, and February 21st, 2012, and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski?
Yes on February, abstain on the rest.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Going to move on to ordinance on hearing. Ordinance on hearing, this is the date and time established for public hearing for ordinance on hearing. We need to continue from February 21st, 2012, meeting 5605 as amended. Mr. Clerk?
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 2, Administration, shall be amended as follows. Add new Section 7-27.4, requirement for criminal history background checks for employees and volunteers.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Motion?
Mr. President, I move ordinance 5505 as amended and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Ordinance 5610.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 19, Parks, Ponds, and Recreation Areas as follows. Amend Section 19-1.1, prohibited conduct in public parks, playgrounds, and recreational facilities. Add, smoking shall be prohibited in all public parks, playgrounds, or other recreational facilities of the City of Linden where smoking is prohibited in accordance with NJSA 26:3D-55 at sequence, the New Jersey Smoke-Free Air Act.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Would you please come up?
Pat Hero, Wheat Chief Road. First of all, I'd like to ask our city attorney a question on this. Is this a case where the city has no choice but to enact this? Or, for example, does the New Jersey Smoke-Free Air Act supersede local regulations? Or do we have a choice?
The state statute is an authorizing statute, and council's determined to enact this ordinance under it.
So in other words, it's pretty much the state,
The state statute authorizes the council, should it so choose, to enact this ordinance.
if they so choose. Okay? Okay. So if you so choose. Now, I stand before you, someone whose life has been affected by people of my family's smoking behavior, to their detriment and, of course, then to mine. And I am also severely allergic to cigarette smoke. Maybe I shouldn't admit that. I have the feeling people might take advantage of that, but I am. Having said that, there's something else I'm allergic to. I'm allergic to people stepping on our freedoms. I'm more allergic to that probably than I am, even though I am severely allergic to cigarette smoke. That's what this country is founded upon, freedom. Granted, I don't like cigarette smoke, but believe me, it is a lot harder to deal with the fact that our freedoms are gradually being cut away day by day by day, and it's time we stop it. For example, there are 2 people out in California, 2 scientists wanting to ban sugar. Is that where we're going to go through next? I hope not. As much as I think smoking is a severe health issue, and as I am concerned, I do believe in the goodwill of smokers. I do believe when you go up to somebody and tell them that you are severely allergic, that they would have the good decency to put your cigarettes out. I don't believe the government should get further involved in more of these regulations. I believe in freedom. That's what this country was founded upon. And as if you did my homework assignment and read the Declaration of Independence, right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Vote no on this ordinance, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sharpe, you wish to...
Yes, Paul Sharpe, 315 Second Avenue. Is someone going to be there to watch that our children aren't smoking cocaine, heroin? Is somebody going to go out there and supervise these parks? Because it seems over in Murray and over here, my daughter told me she's seen kids using drugs and substances and that. Is somebody going to go out and patrol all playgrounds and parks with this ordinance? Chief?
The officers will be patrolling as normal, and the officers will be patrolling as normal, and they'll be patrolling parks, and if they see violations, they'll cause the correct summonses to be issued.
Okay, because this comes under the same statute, right? Smoking and the
Yes.
kids smoking and underage smoking?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
Council President, can I speak?
let me ask, anybody else in the audience, would you please step forward?
Diane Wolferding, Morris Avenue. I happen to disagree with Pat's statement because, first of all, and I'll probably make lots of enemies, but oh well, I can't stand when smokers make ashtrays out of everywhere they stand. This is trying to keep the playgrounds clean. Enforcing it might be tough, but if they're driving by and seeing a bunch of people smoke, they can ask them to put it out and take it with them, because I can't stand when I go in parking lots and it looks like an ashtray. When I go into parks and I see people just throw it. Guess what, smokers? It doesn't disappear. It stays there. So when you smoke, take it with you. Thank you. I think this should be put in and enforced, because again, I think smokers can be really inconsiderate. And as for liberty to do what you want, no, not when you're messing up the environment and the parks. be a little more considerate. And it's unfortunate we have to enforce something like this.
Anyone else from the audience wish to make comment? Mr. Brown?
Thank you. I'm the one that sponsored this bill, and the reason being is that I took my son to the park. He's 3 years old, and while he's playing on the playground, I have two people that's smoking right there. I don't smoke in my house, other people don't. I feel that it's our job to protect our children. They should not be exposed to cigarette smoke and other habits that are adult activities. The purpose of this is that you should not be smoking where children are playing. And we talk about litter. Litter is another issue. We have children that are picking up cigarette butts on playground equipment. The other issue is that children shouldn't be exposed to this type of behavior. Our industry, TV media industry has realized that this is a problem where even movies that are rated PG-13, you're not allowed to smoke in because of children see this and they pick up the habit. To me, this is a simple ordinance protecting our children. So when we're talking about the rights, I'm sorry, but I'm looking at the rights of children where they should be able to go, have recreation, be outside and play without the dangers of smoking. So this is what this ordinance is about. This is about areas in which children play in.
Thank you. Motion, please.
Mr. President, I move ordinance 5610 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
No.
Yamikaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
No.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
No. 5611.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 4, General Licensing as follows. Chapter 4, General Licensing, Section 4-34, Police Alarm Systems. Delete 4-34, Police Alarm Systems in its entirety. Add 4-34, Reserved.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move that ordinance 5611, the hearing be closed and the ordinance adopted, and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamikaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5615.
5613.
Thank you.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 5, Animal Control as follows. Delete 5-1.7A, fees, seeing eye dog and guide dogs exempted in its entirety. Add new section 5-1.7A, fees, seeing eye dog and guide dogs exempted.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move that the hearing be closed and ordinance 5613 be adopted, and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
No.
Yamikaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5615.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7, Traffic as follows. Section 7-33, Handicap Parking Regulations, 7-33.1A, Handicap Parking on Street. Add White Rock Baptist Church, 1 space. Add 817 Essex Avenue, 1 space.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Motion, please.
Mr. President, I move ordinance 5615 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. Before we move into the consent agenda, I want to remind, if anyone wishes to speak, and did not get a chance to sign in the sheet, please do so at this sign. Come up and sign up. Consent agenda. Any items listed with the asterisks are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless the council member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. We have items 1 through 8. Does anyone wish to remove an item? Motion, please.
I make a motion for the consent agenda, motions 1 through number 8. Seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbus.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. Okay. We'll move into committee reports. I'll ask Mr. Colibus.
Thank you, Council President. I have a very brief report. I want to encourage all residents to visit the city website and check out all the interesting things that we have, in particular, the recreation programs and all the recreation programs that are offered in the city for various age groups. I want to remind residents who want to enroll their children in the day camps for 2012 that the deadline is May 25th, 2012. It's an 8-week program, and the cost is $350. It runs from June 25th to August 16th. If you want to register in person, between the hours of 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., Monday through Friday, you can go to the John T. Gregorio Center, the Community Center Building, and the Linden Multi-Purpose Center. And if you have any other questions and concerns, please contact 474-8600 or 474-8639. For any First Ward resident with any question and concern, please give me a call at 925-5568 and leave your name, number, and a detailed message, and I will respond to you promptly. This concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor. Sir, in the back of the room, would you remove your hat, please? Thank you. Mr. Koziel?
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to speak briefly about the municipal budget. City Council met as a whole on February 7th and again on March 13th to discuss the building and formulation of the 2012 municipal budget and explore areas to reduce the budget by cost-cutting initiatives. We're not quite there yet, and time is getting short. Everyone's ideas are welcome, and sacrifices will need to be made this year so that this council that we decide to pursue this year, maybe that we didn't pursue last year. I'd like to take this opportunity to commend and thank the efforts of the Treasury Department and the Personnel and Finance Committee for their efforts. This has not been easy. It's not going to be easy. The meetings have been a little heated because we're throwing a lot of ideas out there, and we're trying to get to a point where we're not impacting services, but we are cutting costs. And like I said, sacrifices do have to be made, but we're exploring many different options, and hopefully we will present a budget that we could all be proud of, and also that will be palatable to all taxpayers. On behalf of the Technology Committee, the committee will meet next week to review questionnaires distributed to municipal department heads, in which they were asked how and of what type of additional or improved technology will enhance the operations of their respective departments. Council is reviewing a recent proposal by Opera Solutions where this firm provided a study based on analytics which could save Linden considerably in purchasing products and services. Foremost among them is IT and technology. The committee will recommend implementing operational technology into the city, technology to develop a more efficient and streamlined workforce and operations such as the STAR system, which will be online and operational soon. We thought it would be on currently, but we're still training individuals. A 3 to 5 year technology action plan and needs assessment to assure adequate technology will be the topics for the committee's next agenda. As far as consolidation and restructuring in the city, we have not met in 2 months due to scheduling conflicts. Last night I've asked for a meeting of Mr. Sheehy, Mr. Fakiti, Mr. McDonald, Mayor Gerbunka, Council President, if he would like to attend, and myself, in hopes to resolve lingering differences and differing opinions on physical structure consolidation. The workforce size and complement has changed significantly since the process began several years ago, and it should be reevaluated objectively from this point forward. Special Improvement District, SID Committee, will meet tomorrow at 7 p.m. On the agenda will be reviewing of sample designs for the SID website template. A domain has been secured, I'm told, and sample logo has been established. And an under construction page and sample template will be available for review for tomorrow's meeting by the members. Revenue Enhancement Committee. Committee met to discuss plans for identifying and developing sources of revenue for the future and to work closely with Linden's LEDC and Finance Committee. Committee did not meet at all last year, but as chairman this year, I plan to convene the committee regularly, and one of the first of our initiatives is to identify marketable parcels of property which need to be aggressively shopped to developers. Our next meeting will include reviewing and examining our revenue base and current budgeting and develop a revenue enhancement strategy and policy, and I thank Councilman Armstead and Councilman Kozinski for meeting on a Friday of all days, but it's when we can get together. We had a very productive meeting, and I think we're going to move forward very productively this year. We discussed red light cameras. It's a hot topic. If you listen to the radio, read the papers. Our mayor confirmed yesterday that only one of the 3 proposed red light cameras planned for Route 1 and 9 in Linden had been approved by the state. The intersection approved is the domestic sales intersection between Willow Glade Road and the entrance to BJ's. Traffic is a problem I think everybody has up here. It's getting worse, warm weather's coming. Everybody seems to have more and more cars every month in their neighborhoods. I suffer from, and our second ward suffers from transit infiltration parking, and that is people who commute but don't want to pay for the transit lot. So what they'll do is they'll just park 2 or 3 blocks away on residential streets, take a spot for homeowners and go and come back at 7, 8 o'clock at night from New York or wherever. That has to be looked at, and I have issues, and besides myself and my issues, other council members have also been experiencing traffic issues in their respective wards. Per suggestion, council will provide to our traffic bureau each ward's specific traffic issues. Council members agreed that considering our collective ongoing struggle with traffic volume, speed, and parking, that special focus be given to these issues. So I thank Sergeant Popolski from the Traffic Bureau, Chief Pavona. We're going to make this a good, aggressive, positive initiative and take care of a lot of these issues. West Elizabeth Avenue Flood Control Project, it is underway. Thankfully, if anybody has traveled back and forth, on West Elizabeth Avenue, you'll have a little problem getting by because we're putting in tremendously large sewer lines. Excavation and replacement of the storm lines will pretty much triple the capacity of stormwater removal from this area of the ward. Minor street disruption along Elizabeth Avenue, as well as Marion, Bradford, and Lexington is going on. But please remember, local businesses in the area are open and accessible. So if you want to go have a nice meal, there is a restaurant there that is going to be open all the time. I have a full set of construction plans I requested courtesy of our engineering department. And if any resident in the area would like to know the extent of the work and time frame for the project, I'd be happy to visit and provide details. Along West Blanky Street, construction continues on the former Celanese property, where one of the structures has already been erected, and they're moving very quickly. Right here on West Blanky Street, on West Elizabeth Avenue, a residential structure that was there for years was raised next to the scaffolding concern and is currently being used for additional parking by the adjacent business. I'm hoping that this area will remain clear of debris and not become a lot where commercial construction debris was allowed to accumulate over the past year. We just recently had some sewer work on West Elm Street, right next to the bank. 4 large trees had to be removed, and sidewalks had to be removed for sewer work because of root infiltration, but that is taken care of, and thank you, Mr. Fakidi, and your department for taking care of that issue. I know that's been a problem for a long time during heavy rains, so we thank you for that. I'd like to mention that on March 31st, from 3 to 7 p.m., Linden Public Library meeting rooms on the 3rd floor, the Linden Society for Historic Preservation will hold what I'm going to call a historical event / gala. It's not a formal, but it's going to be a gala, first one of its kind for the committee, or the society, I should say. And what we're going to have is a display of historical memorabilia. If anybody has been on the 3rd floors, we have an entrance and 3 beautiful meeting rooms, and we are going to have them filled with all kinds of photographs, periodicals, old yearbooks, brochures, all kinds of historical pieces of memorabilia, maps, and we're going to have 2 multimedia presentations going. I had one at the September Fest, and we're going to have another one, and it contains hundreds and hundreds of images of historical Linden, along with facts, so you could sit there and learn a lot of things maybe you didn't know about the city, which is 150 years old last year, but we're having the event this year. I hope everybody can make it. There is no charge. There will be light refreshments served, so please come join us if you can. I know there's other events that are conflicting, but come on over for a little while and join us. I'd like to also mention this past weekend, Linden High School Musical Theater Department put on their play Barnum, and I'd like to send out congratulations to musical director Matt Lorenzetti, a young lady you met here tonight who was honored, Barbara Greco Brady, Dwayne Cosby, and all the cast and supporting crew. They were phenomenal. It was a beautiful show. And just like you to know that 2 council people had 2 young people very, very involved in that show, and that is Councilwoman Yamakaitis and Councilman Sheehy. They should be very proud because their children were involved in that great production. So congratulations to all who made that a success, and that's end of my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Brown?
Thank you. I just have a few, some information, just Third Ward. I want to thank the Transportation Department. I don't see anybody here, but over the last couple of weeks, they've really stepped up to help out with the removal of some of the bad stop signs. And I invite any member, any ward, if you see a stop sign, a lot of them have graffiti, call the clerk's office or the mayor's office, let them know. But they've been really helping out getting those signs removed. Like Councilman Kozio said, parking is a big issue, and so we will be addressing that as well. With the warm weather approaching us now, we do see speeding as an issue. So again, I just ask residents, especially my ward, if you see this activity picking up, feel free to give me a call. Call me on my cell phone, 732-814-8123. Let me know. And I know the police department's been very helpful in trying to crack down on this. Other than that, end of report.
Thank you, Councilman Brown. Councilman Armstead?
Yes, Mr. President, I have the following reports. The City Clerk's Licensing Division is submitting its monthly report for the month of February 2012. The office issued 46 miscellaneous licenses and collected $2,674. As usual, we have a Personnel and Finance Committee report. It has been put out for the public's review. If anyone has any questions regarding the report, they may do so at this time.
I have a question.
Would you please come up? State your name.
Miss Cosby Woods, Wheat Chief Road. I notice again this month my name does not appear on this list, even though I was promised that I would see some sort of change. I've been fighting this thing since September. And I just want to say this, and then I'm going to be done. I want to first give honor to God, who is the head of my life. I had a lot to say tonight. If my name wasn't on that list. But I thank God I'm a Christian woman. And because of that, I know that the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy all my dreams. I come to you this evening with a Bible verse on my mind. Mark 8:36. What would it profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul? And I said, absolutely nothing, because I still have to answer to God, and He is far more powerful than anyone on this earth. You see, because in this life you prepare for your next life, where the people of this world won't exist anymore. And the only one you answer to is God, the same God that the mayor starts his prayers with each meeting. I'm just glad that I don't have to explain to him why this job situation went so very wrong. I have nothing to prove to you. I know who I am, and that is a child of God. He woke me up this morning, and I'm still in my right mind. My health and strength are still intact. I know who I am and who I answer to. Do you? I am glad that I know who God is, and the earth and everything in it belongs to Him, and so do you. And that is why I can pray for all of you on the council, the mayor, the police chief, the captains, the dispatchers, and not only for my niece do I pray, but for all of you, that the hatred that exists between you disappear, and that you feel each other's pain, and you share in each other's accomplishments as well. And all that I ask is that you vote with your conscience, as I ask every month. I seem to be the only one interested enough to show up every month. I guess they already know they have the job. And I just want to say have a blessed evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Armstead, you want to continue?
Hands up. Mr. Sharpie.
Mr. Sharpie?
And I had a question too.
I'm Paul Soppy. I reside at 315 2nd Avenue. 2 Saturdays ago, the God of my understanding brought me back because I had an issue at home. I was up in Albany, New York, and I got called back. And that's how my God works in my life. Because like 15 minutes after I arrived home, there was a carjacking on Washington Avenue. And thank God I was home. Because it involved guns.
Is this involved the personnel report?
Oh, yes, also on that, too. Sorry. Personnel report on number 3. Effective for Nicholas, approval of Nicholas as public safety, and on 33,000, effective March 26th. This position right now, has this man left the job? This position is being filled here.
Chief Pavona?
No, it's not.
He has not left the job yet.
No, he has not.
Okay, I would have that taken off. Is it all possible? The man has not got, he's being paid to the 26th, am I correct?
The individual is supposed to leave March 26th. He was called today, and he says he's looking to do both jobs. He has another job he's looking to stay on, so he's going to let us know in the future when he's leaving.
I believe...
Last night, we talked about that he was leaving, now all of a sudden he wants to stay.
Yes, last night he was leaving. Today he called his other job, and he says they're going to put that off for a while, so he's going to stay.
So should that be on here?
Council President, I ask to amend number 3 of the Personnel Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And delete Nicole Andrews. I was not aware of this recent event.
Mr. Armstead?
I have a question.
We have one opening, and Janet Blow is the one.
Ms. Cosby Hurling has the floor.
To Mr. Shoppy's point, and this is what we brought up, I actually asked the question myself, because on number 3, on the Personnel and Finance Report, this position is still occupied, that's 1, and it was never posted, that was number 2. And the mayor advised that he was working off of the list of the qualified candidates. but instead of going up, he's going down the list. So that was what some of the questions that were raised about, you know, hiring someone into a position that's currently filled, and furthermore, hiring where the position was never posted. So he explained he's using his list of the 5 candidates. Janet was one, and there were several others. Nicole currently is working on a per diem basis in the dispatch department with, you know, her relative, but it concerned me that he's talking about a list. It's not a civil service position. So the list that he's saying, he's using the list for his own, you know, purposes, going down the list and not up. And that's all I wanted to say.
Can I retort that, please?
Yes.
First off, Fifth Ward Councilwoman Roshana Cosby Hurling.
Say it again.
You shouldn't be commenting when your aunt is the one that's up on the microphone. Second issue is that we have a list of 5 people that were approved by the police department. Actually, it was 6, but the one on the list was not eligible, and therefore, we are going down the list of number 2 and continuing to number 6. So that is a legitimate list that was supported by the police department and the chief of police and myself, and that's why these individuals were on the personnel committee report. Now, I knew nothing until this instant about the dispatcher changing his mind and staying on the job. So therefore, number 3 on the list, Nicole Andrews, has to be removed since there's no position open for her.
Councilman Brown?
Yes, I just want clarification when we vote, because First Amendment was made to the report and now it's being asked to remove. When we vote, are we removing it or amending it? Because if the attorney can clarify this, on a report, you can't amend it. You can only vote it up or down.
That's so.
Mr. Armstead?
Well, John, can you clarify that, please? The city attorney, please.
Before John speaks, let me just have some input here. This is a personal finance report, and I was under the impression that a personal finance report, any particular item on that report, can be seen as an individual resolution. It doesn't necessarily have to be read in its totality as one action. You can break it up if you so choose. It just so happens that we had been reading them as one motion. So I do have the option to read each individual item on this report and ask for an up or down vote individually on this particular report. And Mr. Hudak, correct me if I'm wrong.
Councilman, the report has always been read as a whole. Historically, councilmen have voted on items up or down as they saw fit on particular items. I believe there's been some discussion among council that there was some belief, and some councilmen said it, that it was one report and you had to take the report as a whole. But historically, councilmen have always voted yes or no on particular items, and that's always been acceptable.
So am I hearing this correctly, that I can read the whole report and the council members here can vote up or down on a particular issue on my report?
Council President?
Mr. Brown?
I'm waiting for an answer from Mr. Hudak. I'm asking Mr. Hudak a question.
That's not the question. My question was.
I believe that's what I just said, Councilman Armstead.
Individuals, council members can vote up or down on a particular item on this report, meaning that any particular item on this report can be viewed as a singular resolution. It doesn't have to be taken as one particular resolution in its totality. Every item on this report can be considered a single resolution. Okay? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Hudak.
Council
President?
Council President?
I understand from what the mayor just said, there's no vacancy now.
Well, right, exactly. There's no vacancy, so therefore, I can opt not to read item number 3. I can actually make item number 4 as item number 3 on my report if I chose to read my entire report as one report.
Councilman, I would suggest, since it's the mayor's appointment, he's withdrawn the appointment, simply that item is removed from your report. Is the mayor's appointment, he's asked it to be removed because there's no vacancy. That simply should be removed, and the other items can go forward at council's discretion on each item, whether they choose to vote yes or not.
I'd like to clarify my position. I am not removing item 3. I am only removing Nicole Andrews and leaving Janet Bowe on because there is one vacancy.
We can't oppose item 2.
Council President.
Mr. Brown.
Thank you. The only question I had, because the mayor asked to amend it, is if we can amend it. I understand voting it up or down. So when we vote, the question I had is, are we voting on something that the mayor's requesting to amend? That's my question.
No, Councilman, no, it's the mayor's appointment. He's asked for it to be removed because there's no vacancy, so he's removing that appointment. It's not an amendment. Each item stands on its own, so you would not just vote on 3, you would simply remove it.
So it won't be considered.
So I'm going to remove item number 3, that's what we agree in principle to.
Thank you, Mr. Armstead.
Okay. And again, for some clarification, Mr. Hudak, can I or can I not read my individual items on my personal and finance report and ask for a vote individually on them?
If you choose to do it that way, you can. As I said, you can read the whole report, and councilman can vote on each item individually, or you can read each item individually and take separate votes. That's within the purview of council.
All right. Okay, just for the edification of the public, I am going to choose to read my items individually and have a roll call, ask for a roll call, and vote on individual items, and therefore we will probably avoid this confusion in the future.
Will you continue, sir?
Okay. Approval is requested for the following personnel and finance actions. Item number 1, in the Department of Finance, the change in title for Kathleen Pinger to Principal Accountant Clerk, Grade 5, to be commensurate with the duties she presently is performing in the Division of the Treasury at an annual salary of $64,399, effective March 21st, 2012.
So you're going to ask for a motion?
Got to make a motion.
I move for approval for that item. And request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
No.
I'm sorry?
No.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
No.
Item number 2, approval is requested for the following item. In the Police Department, the approval of Janet Bowe as Public Safety Telecommunicator at the annual salary of $33,234, effective March 21st, 2012, to fill an existing vacancy. I move for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
No.
Koziel?
No.
Brown?
No.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
No.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
No.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
The item passes.
Item number 3. In the Engineering Department, the approval of the paid FMLA leave of absence for Richard Sudnick from March 9th, 2012 through June 22nd, 2012. I move for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Item number 4, in the municipal court, the correction of Lindsay Parker's salary to $33,235 due to an error in last month's personal and finance action on a motion that was made by 3rd Ward Councilman Peter Brown. I move for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Item number 5, personnel required to carry out the Division of Public Works Services seasonal programs. The list is on file in the Treasurer's office. I move for approval and request a second.
Second.
I have a question on this, I'm sorry.
Mr. Brown?
We talked about this in the back, correct me if I'm wrong. Are we trying to fill this? Sorry.
I move for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Item number 6, personnel required to carry out the Department of Public Property and Community Services seasonal program. This is on file in the Treasurer's office. I move for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Abstain.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
No.
Sadowski?
No.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Item number 7, the payment of bills totaling $1,554,674.10. The bills have been signed by the mayor, council president, and finance chairman, and a detailed check register and vouchers are on file in the clerk's office. I move for approval of item number 7 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
We are, item number 8, we are in receipt of investments made by the city treasurer for the month of February at a rate of 0.75%. I move for approval and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Okay, with regards to this personal and finance report, although we've approved the items on it, you know, I do feel for Mrs. Cosby, who had applied for the position. The unfortunate thing here is that sometimes when things aren't going exactly the way we'd like them to go, sometimes people in our governing body, we can sit down and we can hash out items and we can figure out a way that we can move forward. And I think that last month, both the mayor, myself, and the chief of police, we sat down and we agreed in principle how we were going to get through this thing and move forward with it. And unfortunately, after we had our personnel and finance report read, it was voted down, and a new report was introduced, and basically just overrode the report that I had done. And basically, you know, the agreement that we had kind of just went out the window at that point, because and it just wasn't fair. It wasn't fair to Mrs. Cosby. I think that as members of this governing body, that we have to respect each other's committees. At no point should another individual take the personal and finance report that we spend time and try to prepare and just do away with it and have their own personal and finance report. I just feel that that was wrong last month. And you know, one item on this particular report, we had to amend because the salary was read incorrectly on that second report. Now, had we discussed this in council caucus, we probably could have ironed this out, and everyone could have known how we would be proceeding with regard to some of the other issues that we're confronted with as a governing body. So that concludes my personal and finance report. I'm going to move on to another report that was just given by Joseph Bodak. The following licenses, permits, and transcripts issued in the city clerk's office during the month of February 2012 and fees received have been turned over to the municipal treasurer of the city of Linden. There was 112 birth, death, and marriage transcripts. The city's revenue was $1,680. There were 23 marriage licenses. There was $69 and $575 for the state's revenue. There were 0 domestic partnerships or civil unions. There was 25 miscellaneous revenues for $249.42. There were 3 bingo raffles for $60. There were 415 EDRS vital statistics for $5,040. And there was 1 burial permit for $5. The grand total was $7,678.42, of which $575 goes to the state. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Cosby Hurling.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening again, everyone. I'm going to give my report. Before I start, however, I'd like to mention from last month's celebration of Black History that we did have 2 youngsters who participated, and they were winners in our contest. The first was Amechi Ijoma. She's from the 8th Ward, and she won the poster contest. Then we had Nigel Sidney, who's a 5th Ward resident from Linden High School, who won the essay contest. So congratulations to them, and I was kind of hurried, so I wasn't able to give them their acknowledgement last month. From the engineering department, I'm going to read the following report. We awarded a change order from the National Water Main Cleaning Company last month, and it was a typographical error, so it was $6,000. It should have been $1,002.50. That's actually on for tonight. The county awarded the city of Linden a grant last year in the amount of $195,000 to resurface Bryant Place, Jackson Avenue, Alberta Avenue, East 10th Street, Clinton Street, Malcolm Place, and Peter Street. Bids were taken on March 13th and came in higher than the available funds. The engineering department met with the county, and the Community Development Committee were successful in obtaining another $20,000 for the project. This also is on for tonight. From the committee, as the chairwoman, I'd like to recommend Christine, and I'm going to mess her name up. It's spelled Figueredo from the Treasurer's Department, to be appointed as the alternate to the Union County Community Development and Revenue Sharing Committee. I move this report and ask for a second.
Okay, thank you.
No. Need a second.
Second, yeah.
Mr. Colbus.
Yes.
Cozio.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
All right, thank you. From recycling, we had a very informative meeting. Those of us on the committee who were able to attend, we were there. Thank you, Mr. Fakidi, for that. We appreciate that. We are going to expand our recycling program this year with electronics. We're going to accept electronics from Winfield. They are going to deliver them to us. It's not going to cost us a thing, but we will earn on the tonnage, so that's a good thing. We also will be working in the future with the Public Works Committee to have a new program for accepting metal recyclables to prevent scavengers from taking the metal, which we can earn on as well. I want you to remember, please, that cans generate cash, and if you see the people running around on Recycle Day with their trucks and their bags taking the cans, call dispatch, or just, ask them to please leave it because it is for the city to collect. Also, we'd like for you to be mindful of the sanitation workers. We've been told that a lot of the cans are more than 50 pounds, and it's a hazard for them. So please be sure that if you're going to do your trash or your recycles, that the cans aren't more than 50 pounds, and they should not be more than 30 gallons, 32 gallons, just for the safety of our staff in the sanitation department. From the Housing Authority, back from recycling, we're going to have a media distribution for the recycling information. We have a new photo with more detailed descriptions of what should be recycled, so we're asking that everybody please pay attention when when it goes on Channel 36, and we're going to try and have it on the city's website, so we're clear on what is recyclable. Mr. Frazier reminds us continuously that junk mail is to be recycled, not just to be thrown in the trash. And in Linden, we actually have the luxury of mixing our paper, newspaper, and cardboards together. So while we don't earn as much as we could by separating everything, we still would want you to recycle as much as you possibly could. From the Housing Authority, I want to thank Mrs. Ferguson and her
Gentlemen,
staff
please
and
have
the
a seat.
volunteers.
Take a seat, sir.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, Councilman.
Okay. As well as the volunteers for the Housing Authority's annual St. Patrick's Day celebration. There were lots of people, the food was great, and the celebration was great. So I want to commend them on their efforts every year. And they acknowledge all of the cultures, because the Housing Authority is a melting pot, so they kind of acknowledge every person. What else do we have? I did not attend the commissioners' meeting. Unfortunately, it was moved up so that the Housing Authority could go into the cooperative agreement, as we mentioned last month, with Union County. So they're going to try and save energy by getting, the boilers and things like that, and getting into the electrical co-op. I believe that the city's participating with them as well. March 8th, we had a community meeting, and we were there to give information about the budget. March 8th, during the meeting, we were at that point 2.3 million over the cap. As of today, we are 1.9 million over the cap. There's going to be a special budget meeting scheduled. Okay. On April 3rd, it is open to the public. This is going to be the third such meeting. If you have an interest in the budget, in the process, and in what's happening in our city, plan to attend. It's for everybody's information. Like, all of us on council have given lots and lots of ideas. Some of them are the same ones from last year. But, it's time that we move things into action. The mayor asked us, are we willing to take, the fallback if we make the hard decisions? And I have to say that I'm going to have to take the fallback on the hard decisions, because it's affecting us all. We don't want to lose services, but we don't want to have an increase if we don't have to in our taxes. What else? We also had the traffic department there, so I want to thank Investigator Hammer. He was there. He gave lots of information about safety as a pedestrian and as a motorist. We want to be, conscious when we're on the road, just so that everybody is safe. So thank them for participating in our meeting. My next office hours will be this Friday at 6 o'clock at the Linden Multipurpose Center. My telephone number is 908-477-4120. And on the city's website, linden-nj.org, I have a page with my email address and other information. The spring newsletter is being prepared now, and I want to just mention that I'm going to be partnering with Councilwoman Michelle for her annual Easter egg event, which is going to be in the 8th Ward, and she'll give further details. I'm almost finished. It is Women's History Month, so I'd like to congratulate again Mrs. Bannister on the occasion of her 107th birthday. Also for Mrs. Aslan being the first woman police officer and still serving on the force. Also for the women who may go unnoticed, the mothers in the PTA, the women who run troops, the women who volunteer for the youth organizations and for the senior clubs. You guys do great work, and you are appreciated, so don't stop. Finally, I bring good news for the 3,525 Linden youth who are eligible for the summer food program. There was a challenge, I mentioned it last year, and there were some struggles with the recreation staffing to get the program underway. So we are going to be working now to get the summer food program, and it will be managed by the Communities in Cooperation, who currently run Linden Family Success, and hopefully we can get it so that for this year, those 3,500 children can participate if they choose into the summer food program. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Sadowski.
Thank you, Council President. Just a few remarks. First, I was asked to mention dog licenses for 2012 are due. Licenses will be available at the City Hall between April 2nd and April 12th. All dogs 6 months or older need a license. 3 rabies vaccinations will be in May, and they will be given through the Board of Health. So when that comes up, they will have something out on that. Okay, to the people on Smith and Hampton Street, we had a meeting set up with them on Thursday to discuss a Wawa coming on the Duke property. It was all set up. I sent out notifications. Duke canceled. Now, I went around today giving out letters again saying it was canceled, but if someone missed it, please, this Thursday's meeting is canceled. I will let you know when the next meeting is, if there is. The other good news, or one good news, is the mayor informed me that the state finally has contacted the mayor and the city concerning the lights on Route 19, Clinton and Wood Avenue. Within the next, I guess, 2 months or whatever it was, 6 weeks, they will send down a troubleshooter, and supposedly it will be fixed. So we've been waiting almost a year for this, and finally they contacted the mayor. So I'm hoping this will be. I had some people calling me up and they wanted to know where the Department of Health went to. It's down at the old City Hall on Wood Avenue, right across from Wheeler Park. So if anyone didn't know it was switched, that's where it is from now on. With the good weather coming, we are trying to set up a meeting with the Neighborhood Watch Committee. I will let you know the time, the place, and so on. I have to get the place, I have to get the police time to come. So I will notify you either by sending something out or on TV 36. So I will let everyone in the 6th Ward know. If you would like to attend or if you would like to join, please come and we'll discuss what you people are doing, because it's the Neighborhood Watch people who do all the important things. In that vein, please, we just had, this is what I was reported, just a couple of blocks from me the other day, in broad daylight, people came and stole aluminum awnings from in front of the house and on the side. I heard that neighbors saw them doing. I mean, the house is, no one's living there, but the neighbors were watching. Please, if you think anything is wrong, please call the police, because that's kind of, well, what can I say? If you have any concern about this, please give me a call at 862-0749, or if you email me at bob1215@aol.com. If you have any questions, please give me a call and we will sign you up. Other good news is if you pass the underpass today on Wood Avenue, we had a meeting, the mayor, other councilmen, had a meeting with the New Jersey Transit and discussing cleaning it up. It will take time, but if you notice, when I was coming up here today, under the bridge is almost spotless. It was cleaned, I think it was spray washed. Lights are going to be put in, so this is all coming for the beautification of Wood Avenue. You have to give us a little time, but I know people were a little hesitant to walk under there in the dark because one side there were no lights. So it is coming. The other thing which I mentioned last week, as it stands now, the city will not make the seniors or anyone pay for handicap parking. There was a talk of paying, a one-time fee of handicap parking. We did a survey of many of the towns around, and none of them charge. So as it stands now, they will not charge. But remember, if you do the handicap parking, you get a whole 4 or 5 page thing to fill out. You must fill it out. And then the police will come and check it out for you. And lastly, I'll mention it again, the seniors. The seniors in Linden, we had 2 St. Patrick's Day parties. One at the Senior Center, the Gloria Center, and one at Trimley Point. All people had a great time. Please, if you can, join us. That concludes my report. Okay. My phone number is 862-0749, and I'm really taking a chance with the email. I have a tough time with it, but email is bob1215@aol.com. So if you have any questions, please give me a call, and I certainly will answer you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Sheehy?
Thank you, sir. I'd like to be brief if possible. This month, we didn't have a Public Works meeting because of all the budget meetings supersede other meetings, and we scheduled the Public Works 3 times and was canceled. But again, our steel that we put out on the curb this month was very low again. It was only $2,197. In the 7th Ward, we're going to be doing a lot of paving this summer because our roads do take a beating. Southwood Avenue, Clinton Street, Mopsic, and 10th Street. There's a big concern about the light on Wood Avenue and Main Street, the traffic light. That traffic light is out, it's not working. We were waiting for parts, and now the parts aren't coming. It's so outdated that we can't get the parts for that light. So we are in discussion with that intersection right now. Temporarily, we might be making it a 3-way stop street as of now until we can get that light up and going again. I'd rather have the light on Wood Avenue going red and the light on Main Street going amber to slow down the truck traffic. I would like to thank everybody on this council that attended the meeting in the 7th Ward about the medical waste facility. I would sincerely congratulate the people from the 7th Ward and the people from the city of Linden that showed up and voiced their opinions. I think it was well attended, and I appreciate everyone staying under control, and I think we accomplished a lot at that meeting. Right now in the 7th Ward, if you need a tree trimmed, please call me as soon as possible, because even today, the Public Works is working in our neighborhood in the 7th Ward trimming trees. So don't email me. Please, do not email me. Call me, 862-2983. 862-2983. I have a very busy week this week and next week, but please leave a message on the phone and you will get a return call. And I voted no tonight on the dog license. Some people probably say, why that idiot voted no on a dog license, but I still feel the cat license went to the side. You know, I don't know whatever happened to the cat license. I think we should, have a cat license too. Charge a fee for the cats, just like we do with the dogs. Instead of raising the dog license, I think we should have a cat license. This is my opinion, and I appreciate being up here for you people. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Sheehy. Mrs. Yamamoto.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before I begin my report, I'd just like to mention for Women's History Month, we were going to have the Girl Scout leaders from Linden come. This is the 100th year anniversary for Girl Scouting, and without these women volunteering as leaders, Girl Scouting would not have made that anniversary. So they take their time to go to meetings week after week, get involved with the girls. So next month at our Scout and Government Day, we will be acknowledging those ladies who give of their time to make Girl Scouting what it was. They're in the process of their cookie delivery sale for their sales for Linden, so everybody will be getting their cookies very shortly.
Sir.
Okay. From the Board of Health, The rabies vaccination programs for dogs and cats will be held for the first 2 weeks in May. Contact the Health Department at 908-474-8409 for specific dates, times, and locations. And hypertension screening program will be held on Friday, April 13th, from 2 to 4 p.m. in the City Hall Council Chambers. From the Library Board, the Friends of Linden Library will be having their annual meeting this Saturday, March 24th, from 2 to 4 p.m. on the 3rd floor of the library. I just want to mention, Linden's got talent, everyone. I believe in catching kids doing something good. So often you hear they were doing this, they were doing that. Nobody takes the time really to acknowledge the good things that the kids are doing in this city. I would like to acknowledge the performers and stage crew in this past weekend's production of Barnum at Linden High School. The students did a fantastic job and worked hard over several months, every day after school, day after day, to make the program the success it was. I would like to also give a special thank you to Mr. Lorenzetti and his entire staff for their hard work and all their efforts in bringing out this positive youth effort. So thank you to them. Our annual 8th Ward Egg Hunt will be held on Saturday, March 31st at 11 a.m. in Malkowski Park, which is located on the corner of South Park Avenue and Bedell Place. The event is free, and parents are invited to bring their camera for photo opportunities with the Easter Bunny. As Mr. Sheehy mentioned, Public Works is finishing up trimming trees in the 7th Ward. They will be moving on to the 8th Ward, so if anyone has any tree requests that they need to have trimmed or any dead trees, please give me a call. And just a reminder again from last month, tickets are still available for the spaghetti dinner on March 31st to benefit Folis, which is the Friends of Linden Animal Shelter. The dinner will run from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. on March 31st at Gregorio Center. For ticket information, please call 463-0050 or email folisinfo@gmail.com. Please come out to support the animals. Funds are down. They could really use your support. Even if you can't attend the dinner, please consider buying a ticket. And if any residents have any questions or concerns that I could help them with, please give me a call at 925-2309. Thank you, Mr. President. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman Yamamoto. Councilman Frazier?
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to start out with a report indicating that I am on the Personnel and Finance Committee, and I want to assure all residents here and also out in TV land that the Personnel and Finance Committee, as well as your complete council, are working very feverishly on the budget. We haven't adopted one yet, but it takes a lot of work. These are very difficult times, so please have confidence in us. We will get it done, hopefully to the best of everyone's attitude. I'd also like at this time to comment on the Hawkrise area, which is part of the landfill. We have a walkway, and the walkway is pretty much finished at this point. All that remains to be done is the installation of railing on it. And this is both Phase 1 and Phase 2. Phase 1 is in the forested area, which is the green area, and Phase 2 takes the walkway out to the Rawway River. And I must say that there's a really beautiful area where this walkway is going. It has a very large observation post right out in the Rawway River. And those who enjoy the environment as well as the scenery will certainly enjoy it. One other item, too, with regards to Hawkrise and the landfill. I've mentioned many times that there's a lot of things going on in the landfill. We'll never be rid of it. It's something that we're going to have for perpetuity. But in any event, tonight there's a resolution on, and that particular resolution, and it's one that I look forward to because it's a resolution that will offer us the opportunity of sending out RFQs, the requests for quotations, and RFPs, requests for performances, to certain developers. We do have methane gas at the landfill. We're reclaiming it right now through a flare. We certainly want to do something better than just reclaiming it, hopefully to give it to a developer who can process it into electricity, and hopefully we can get some sort of commission on that. At the same time, too, there's substantial room on that 65-acre landfill to install solar panels. Again, solar panels can be converted into energy, electricity, and so forth. So one way or another, we're going to get some good results from the landfill. The other item is that the walkway, we hope, will be completed. That's why we've extended the date to May 30th, 2012, which will be the official ribbon-cutting ceremony. And we'll give you the time. It'll be advertised here at council, as well as in the local papers and so forth. And it'll give you the opportunity to really see firsthand what this walkway produces and so forth. Matter of fact, it's produced, as far as I know, 20 deer, a herd of 20 deer that we have down there. It sounds great. I love Bambi, believe me, I do. But Bambi and her herd are eating too much of our vegetation. So we've got to somehow control Bambi and the herd so that they don't eat up all the vegetation, and then we don't have an environmental walkway. In any event, we are working with there happens to be a individual in the county who is a deer control agent, and he knows all about deer, all about their habitat and so forth. And remarkably, I remember meeting this young man many, many years ago when I was a scoutmaster up at Camp Winnebago in Morris County. So today he is perhaps in his rightful habitat, taking care of various deer. All right, to move on, a couple other items real quick. I'm also the liaison to the Environmental Commission. Mrs. Cosby Hurling mentioned that in her recycling that they're energizing to get more recycling done. I encourage our Environmental Commission to work with our recycling committee to help emphasize the need for recycling today. Remember, that which is not recycled ends up in the waste stream. That which goes in the waste stream costs the city money, quite a lot of money. So I kind of feel with a great amount of new people that have moved in, and not only that, we have to apprise people, because somewhere along the line they forget what they have to recycle, what they should recycle. So I think we can do it both ways with the recycling committee and with the help of the Environmental Commission. All right, one other item, the weather is beautiful out there. Like you, I'm amazed. I guess this can be considered a false spring, but I don't want to say that in reality. But it makes everyone just spring up and so forth. I hope it doesn't spring you up to the point that you forget what the speed limit is in all of the wards. Most of the streets are 25 miles an hour. All right, there's a few that are 35, the highways are 55, whatever. Kindly remember the speed limit. There's a lot of young kids. We have a tremendous amount of young kids today going to school. They don't always stay on the sidewalk. So kindly watch out for them, and you as the operator of your vehicle, be completely conversant of them, okay? With that, that concludes my report. I thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Frazier. Councilman Kuczynski.
Thank you, Council President. For February, the Fire Prevention Bureau collected $3,287.50 and had 468 total calls at the fire department. I would like to offer my congratulations to the individuals recognized today. It's always something special with people in the community, and I think Linden needs to do, it has been doing a good job and needs to continue to do that. With that being said as well, I've been getting a lot of calls, and a lot of times, people will offer a complaint or a criticism, but I've actually been getting a lot of compliments, and the compliments about the service of the DPW recently. So I'd like to commend the DPW from the individuals that told me that they wanted to compliment the DPW. So I think it's a good faith effort of where our tax dollars are going. A lot of times we wonder where are they going. It's good to realize that they are being spent at times in a way that does benefit us, and I would just like to commend them. A lot of the council people here stole my thunder a little bit about the warm weather, because I have received a lot of complaints about speeders. The 10th ward is basically a cross-through ward. There's a lot of, we're kind of boxed in by major routes. And I've been working with the police chief about these specific areas if people are calling me, so please feel free to call me and alert me to this, and try to keep track of when it happens. A lot of times it's repeat speeders. They know what they're doing, they know where they are, and they'll do it again and again and again. The only way you're going to get them is by setting up a police enforcement effort in the area. Now, if we all work together, it should help the locals. It'll remind us that it is 25 miles an hour, but it would also, the people that are speeding through, going from Stiles to Raritan or what have you, that it'll remind them that, we do care about our community, and whether or not it's a child, it's a neighboring resident walking by, it's important. And along that, our ward has School 9, School 10, McManus. A lot of walking students are going to be around now. So a 25-mile-per-hour car can still damage a kid pretty good. And we have a lot of areas that don't have sidewalks, so please be very cognizant. And the flip side of that is parents. Parents, please remind your children that streets are not sidewalks. They can't walk in the middle of the street, congregate on corners. Little common sense things that I want to avoid the ultimate. Tickets and whatever, that's fine. You can come and argue me if you get a speeding ticket. We can come fight if your kid gets a jaywalking ticket. We can do that. We can have discussions, but I want to avoid the call that says a child was hit, an individual was hit, walking their dog or something like that. So please, let's work together to prevent that from happening. And I think if we all work together, we can do that. And finally, spring newsletter should be coming out in April. I'm working with printers now and trying to figure out the best way to get my newsletter out to everybody in the ward, as opposed to just registered voters in the ward. So, working on a few bugs on that, and just making sure it's going to try to get to everybody. So with that in mind, at the end of April, if you haven't received anything, please let me know. And that's if you're registered or not. Just let me know. Give me a call, and the number to reach me is 908-463-9234, and that's what I established for 10th Ward residents. So 908-463-9234, and email is my first initial A and Kaczynski. It's kind of long. It's KUCZYNSKI@linden-nj.org. It's the official Linden website. If you go to the Linden website, it's there. And again, any other issues, from the most mundane, if you think it's not important, give me a call and we'll see. I might not always have an answer, but I'll find out, and if it's a real issue, I'll be a thorn until we can try to get an answer for you. So, Council President, thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Before the mayor's report, I'd like to remind anybody, if you haven't had the chance to sign the sign-in sheet to speak, please come up now and do so. Mr. Mayor, you have a report for us?
Thank you, Council President. I will be brief. I just want to mention there's two events coming up. They're a little bit in the future, but I would just like to whet your appetite. And each of these events are sponsored by two different committees. One is the Cultural Committee, and one is the Mayor's Youth Commission. And I just want to remind everybody that both these committees are solely composed of volunteers, and they do not spend one penny of your taxpayers' money for either one of these events. And the one event from the Cultural Committee, which is being run by President Molly Lenz, is the Mayor's Challenge 5K Race and Fun Walk, which is going to be April 15th. It's a little ways down the road, but be aware that it's a 3.1-mile run from the AA field and ends after running through the streets of Linden back in the AA field. It's going to be at 9:30 is the fun walk, and 10 a.m. is the 5K race. It'll be $20 pre-race and $25 on race day. All the proceeds will go for the expenses for this race and also any profits, which we anticipate profits, will go to project graduation for our high school seniors, which is going to be a fun-filled evening on graduation day to keep them out of mischief and an alcohol and drug-free night. I will continue to remind the public about the Linden Mayor's Challenge as it gets closer to April 15th. We also have the Mayor's Youth Commission, which is sponsoring the Masterpiece Program by Reverend Donaldson. He's the chairman of the Mayor's Youth Commission, doing an excellent job. This is going to be on May 12th, 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. in the Multipurpose Center on John Street off of East St. George's Avenue. It's going to be a skills contest with basketball, a three-point shootout, half-court shots, a dunking contest, which I will be judging along with several other people. And it's a fun-filled night for our young men and women. And again, it's done absolutely free by the Mayor's Youth Commission. And again, this is something I'll be reminding people of as the date draws closer. And lastly, as has been past practice, I like to inform the public when we have generous corporations who support different activities in the city of Linden. Besides paying taxes, Infinium has donated $500 to our Earth Day poster contest, which will be done by the Environmental Commission. And again, as the event draws closer, I will remind the public of it. What we do is we have poster contests in all our schools, and judges pick the winners from each grades, and we award the winners some awards here at the council meeting on that day. Also, they've donated $2,000 to our Summit Concert Series, which again is going to start being done in the spring, and that is in the promenade, where we have free entertainment in the evenings, which again will be posted. And if you notice, we do have a message board that is in the process of being hooked up in our promenade that will advertise the events throughout the summer at the promenade stadium. So I'd just like to remind everybody that besides the services that are provided for your tax dollars, as you could see, the city of Linden provides plenty of entertainment, and it doesn't cost you as a taxpayer 1 penny. End of report, Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're going to move into resolutions. It starts at 2012-135 through 2012-162. Public comments will be permitted for those specific resolutions to be removed from the consent to approval. Please read the synopsis of the resolutions which have been prepared by the City Clerk's office. Each is informative and self-explanatory. However, if you wish to address a specific resolution, the council will entertain questions on it. Does anyone wish to remove resolutions 135 through 162? On my right. Ms. Hero? 142, 143, 144, 150, 156. Thank you. Anyone else on the right? My right? In the center here? Ms. Sharp? 137, 142, 143, 144, 45, 50, 151, 154. Thank you. Ms. Melick? 135, 142, 143, 144, 149, 151, and 157. Anyone else in the center? On my left? Motion on the remainder, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of resolutions 135 through 162, with the exception of Resolution 135, 137, 142, 143, 144, 145, 149, 150, 151, 154, 156, and 157, and request a second.
Second. Mr. Colvin?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes to all except 160.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. I'd like to ask Mrs. Malik to come up for 135.
Just a quick question, maybe Councilman Frazier could respond to this. I know that they're doing a lot of testing at the landfill, so is this part of the ongoing testing that the additional 1250 is for, or is this something new? Because I know many times I've asked the question,
No,
and you say...
this is somewhat different, and if I may, I'll just
Sure.
read some briefing of the scope of work. On behalf of the City of Linden, CME, who is the developer contractor, associates prepared a request for qualifications, request for proposals for the development of landfill gas utilization and other alternative renewable energy sources, including solar and wind. The RFP seeks proposals from experienced, successful landfill gas and alternative energy developers. The City of Linden is in the process of advertising the RFP document to solicit for qualified developers. CME Associates will assist Linden to evaluate the responses received, conduct interviews, make recommendations for a successful developer that best meets the city's requirements and needs. We will rate each proposal based on the rating factors provided in the RFP. That's basically it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of Resolution 2012-135 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colvin?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
No.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 2012-137, Mr. Sharpie.
Yes, on this, last month, they said they had one problem. What's the need to extend this project?
Councilwoman Cosby Hurling reported on that a half an hour ago.
It was a typo, Mr. Sharpie. From last month, you mentioned
Yeah, but
It
it
was
was
six-
only, why does the project have to continue? I thought they were all checked.
The $6,000 was not needed, so that was rescinded. We just need $1,002.50.
Okay, but the project is stopped, right? Correct?
Project is completed.
Okay.
Motion, please.
Yes, move for approval for Resolution 212-137 and request a second.
second.
Mr. Colvis?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 2012-142, Pat Hero, please. Okay. Mr. Sharpie, Mrs. Malik.
I think you can lump together 142, 143, 144. I would just like to know what is the special counsel and representing Mr. Sheehy, Gabanka, and Brown.
These
What's
are
it about?
matters related to complaints filed against the council people in their positions, and the city is retaining special counsel. Two of the attorneys are personal attorneys requested by who sent letters in requested by each of the mayor and Councilman Sheehy, and the other is an appointed attorney for Mr. Brown. And the matters are in litigation.
All right, and you said this is matters brought up against the...
The matters in litigation.
Okay.
I'd like to comment on this, if I may. Councilman. This is an issue between myself and Councilman Brown that occurred in the Treasurer's office a while back. Unfortunately, it became an embarrassing situation where complaints were signed, criminal complaints were signed against me by Councilman Brown and myself, and Councilman Brown against myself and me against Councilman Brown. It's a shame that this governing body has got to deteriorate to that type of conduct. The other issue, and a totally separate issue, is complaints, criminal complaints against Councilman Sheehy by Councilman Brown and Councilman Brown against Councilman Sheehy. Again, totally different issue. Councilman Brown had two conflicts on two separate dates and two separate times that resulted in criminal complaints against each other. It's embarrassing for the city of Linden. My position is that the taxpayers should not have to pay for representation for any of us. This is elected officials having political squabbles, and we should fund our own bills for any attorney fees. Of course, if this governing body chooses to represent Councilman Sheehy and pay for his attorney fees and Councilman Brown and pay for his attorney fees, then I expect my attorney fees to be paid for also. But I think we should just not waste taxpayers' money on nonsense and political issues.
I know...
Councilman Brown, you have a comment, please?
I just want to say something, and I'll give you seated, if you can just hold off. I just find it deplorable with you explaining what the situation is. You're grown adults, and to have this come to this, what kind of example are we setting for the young people in our city? So just hearing your explanation, I'll hear yours also. I think that's deplorable, absolutely deplorable.
Mr. Brown.
Thank you. I was advised not to speak on this, and the only reason I'm speaking is because, long story short, this is political. It's a smear campaign. But if anyone wants to get into the details of it, and Ms. Hero, you've come up repeatedly to talk about this, and yet you never called me to find out. The confrontation that happened in the Treasurer's office is all on tape. But nevertheless, if you want to talk to me privately about it, I'd be more than willing to talk about it. As far as the attorney expense for me, there's a memo that I sent to the Treasurer's office that the 10% cut that I took last year, this year, and next year be used towards this. I'm not requesting an attorney. I don't need the attorney, but nevertheless, if the council do choose to, the $1,700 that I'm taking off this year and next year, I'm requesting that it be transferred to cover this, which is more than the $3,000 of the max that the council has set forth. So in regards to my attorneys being paid for by the taxpayers, I took a 10% cut, like I promised, and that will be covered if the council chooses to pay for this. In regards to my complaint, Ms. Hero, you talk about rights. When you're being assaulted, I have every right, and this is what this issue is about. Physical, unwanted gestures were put on my person. I have a right to file a court complaint as well as file a police report. But I feel I've said enough about this because knowing what's going to happen, this is going to become a political issue. If the council chooses not to fund this, I'm fine with it. But nevertheless, it is my option and my legal right to pursue this in court.
Thank you. Mrs. Malik, did you address all three of them, or?
She did.
So you're satisfied with all three? Okay, we'll continue with Mr. Sharpie. 142. 142, 143, you've asked to speak on.
I got all three of them.
I didn't get you on 144. Go ahead.
Well, when I was city councilman up in Pottsville, Pennsylvania, if I got an allocation with a taxpayer, I was responsible for my own lawyer. I had to pay my own thing. But here in Linden, since I am a taxpayer, you three gentlemen got in a fight, okay. You're responsible for your own attorney. I feel that the taxpayer should not have to pay for this. This is your tax dollars, and I strongly suggest that this be voted down and let them handle it in the back room, but we are not responsible for their actions. As taxpayers, we pay the taxes here, we pay, and if allegations like that happen, that's behind closed doors, wherever it happened, but they're responsible for their own fees. Now, they're all employees of the city, and I think whatever the attorney fees should be deducted from their pays. Not us taxpayers have to pay for that.
Thank you. So you spoke on all three? Pat Hero?
Councilman Brown, I'd like to apologize for that little outburst, but I'm sorry, I just couldn't help. When you said it was like a smear campaign, maybe not. But I'm not going to adjudicate this in public. I think we'll let the courts decide what goes on, but I'm not exactly sure that was a smear campaign based upon what I've read in the papers. But you are within your legal rights to pursue this. I will agree with that. However, is it up to us, the taxpayers, to pay for this? And I'm not sure it is. You want to save us money. I think each and every one of these gentlemen, it's not like, for example, we're suing you for something that you did and, you know, and you were perfectly within your legal rights to do that. Seems more like it's personal disputes going on here. And it's, again, you're perfectly within your right to do that. But do we have to fund this? I think we could save at least $9,000 if it goes up to that much, if you all pay for your own legal fees and help save the taxpayers. Because believe me, some of us are finding it very hard to find food costs and dental care and medical care. So we really don't want to pay for your legal fees, or Mr. Sheehy's or Mr. Kabunka's. See, I'm not just saying yours, I'm agreeing with all of them. They can each front their own legal fees if they choose to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sheehy? Councilman Sheehy?
Thank you, Council President. Believe it or not, I got nothing to say. I would just like to urge this council to vote no on this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Motion, please, on 140. We'll take them all three at the same time. 142, 143, 144. Motion.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for resolutions 2012-142, 2012-143, and 2012-144. Move for approval and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbus?
No.
Koziel?
No.
Brown?
Abstain.
Armstead?
No.
Cosby Hurling?
No on 142, 143, and yes to 144.
Sadowski?
No on them all.
Sheehy?
No.
Yemakaitis?
No.
Frazier?
No on all.
Kaczynski?
No.
Mr. Moore?
No. Brings us to 2012-145. Mr. Sharpie?
It's not the, is this performance of the transportation for this bus for Vanderland, is this go under the summer budget? this service be provided by this bus company in the next calendar year, which is July 1st.
Ms. Sack?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
On the bus, the $26,000.
The Volani,
When will this service be performed?
this is for the calendar year 2012. These are for various trips that they have planned for our senior citizens, for our day camps, for our various programs that we run throughout the city.
Does that come out of this budget?
Yes, comes out of this budget, and $12,325 comes out of a trust account that's dedicated for the specific purpose of recreation services.
Okay, another question. At one time in the city, didn't you used to have two buses for the senior citizens? Was there two buses that were owned by the city? I have a question that someone had told me that there was two buses that were owned by the city of Linden at one time. I have a question on it, just a question. At one time, there was two buses owned by the city. One was put out of commission and then never replaced over a couple of years ago. Yes or no?
Best of my knowledge, we have one bus.
But was there another one broke down and never,
Oh, I bet we had a few buses that were broke down at one time.
but owned by the city?
But I think as having license plates and insurance and using them, I think we've only have one.
But, I mean,
We
what happened?
auctioned off a few.
Well, this auction money, was there, where did the auction money go that the city received back? Like if we sold 3 buses, was that put back into the account to purchase another bus?
1 minute.
That's my question.
It was put back into the city budget, into the coffers of the city, I can guarantee you that.
But why not put back into, the buses were sold, why wasn't it put back into a bus account?
It's not that easy, sir. I wish it would be. You need special accounts for everything that's done these days. Like the dog license goes toward dogs. I agree
Right.
what you're saying, but
Yeah.
you don't sell buses every day of the week, so.
I know, but we sold
into the
them.
treasury.
Why did it not go back into that?
Thank you,
We
Mr.
sold 2
Shelby.
buses that were no longer in service.
Thank you.
So that went into the general account, which they should have never done. That money, the 2 buses were sold, they were no longer in service, it should have been right back into that. And
Thank you.
I'm sure we got $26,000 for those 2 buses that we got rid of, or whatever it was.
Mr. Brown?
Just for clarification, I know this came up. Alexis, are we paying the full 26, or is some of this money coming out of a trust fund?
Councilman Brown, $12,325 is going to be coming out of the Recreation Trust Fund.
So we're not paying the full 26,000. What's happening is that the contract is for 26,000. However, over 12,000 is being offset by money that the city's bringing in.
Yes.
In other words, the programs pay for a certain portion of the bus,
Yeah.
the transport fees.
Well, okay, but, okay, now, how about the gas?
Okay, we're going to ask
Mr.
for...
Shopping, some of the buses they use are for the senior citizens when they go on their trips.
Right.
The last bus I could think of that the city had a couple of years ago was a real small, I forget how many it fit, roughly 25 people. But these are the big, 50 people, 55 people. They go to Pennsylvania or whatever it is on a trip. But that's part of this, not all of it, but that's part of
Yeah, how many children have to go on these trips? Is there 30 kids or,
Mr. Sharpie, your time's up.
All right.
Ocean, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of Resolution 2012-145 and request a second.
Second. Mr. Calvis.
Yes, I just want to say that the day camps, there's about 7 trips that they go on per year. That's just out, and there's at least 4 to 5 buses each time fill the capacity. Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. Resolution 2012-149, Ms. Malik.
maybe I should direct this to the engineering group. Was there some sort of a miscalculation on the initial budget that you're now talking about a Phase 2 to the tune of over $29,000? Can you maybe just explain this?
Mr. Furchick.
The original amount was just to determine if a tank was in the ground. They did that. This money is to remove the
Remediate
tank, clean it, test the soil, backfill it, and get all the reports to the state.
Okay, so that's to complete the whole job then?
Yes.
Okay.
The only thing it doesn't include, if for some reason the tank had leaked and the soil is contaminated, this proposal does not include that. We'll have to pay extra money if we find the soil was contaminated.
Why did they break this down into two different phases and just not give like a lump sum and when initially the project was being, quoted on?
Well, it won't be a lump sum. They're changing it to hourly rate.
Okay, all right, thank you.
May I have a motion, please, on 149?
Yes, Mr. President, I move Resolution 2012-149 and request a second.
Second. Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurley?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 2012-150, Pat Hero.
I would be remiss if I did not say, with regard to the consent agenda, that two of the projects came in below budget, which I think was very good. My question is, how come this one came in above?
Mr. Furchick.
After they milled some of the streets, they had to put extra asphalt on because the base wasn't strong enough. And also some other items went up, a few extra reconstruct inlets and a little bit extra striping. But all the money is coming from a grant, it's not city money.
Okay, like I said, two others came in below budget, so that was kind of good also. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Sharpie on 150. Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of Resolution 2012-150 and request a second.
Second. Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurley?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 2012-151, Ms. Malik.
I'd just like to get a little bit more detail what this actually includes. This is an upgrade, but to the tune of $500,000. So is this a complete rebuild or
Yes.
refurbishing? Can you just
Mr.
provide a little
Furchick.
bit more?
Yeah, it's putting in two 12,000-gallon tanks and a canopy, and all new pumps and a new computer system.
And it's at the same location or a different location?
Yeah, same location, about 100 feet away from the existing tanks.
So the existing tank, so it's almost like a total rebuild. Are they using any of the existing?
Now, the existing tanks are
Leaking.
33 years old, and the canopy and the computer system, everything is shot, so they're removing everything.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Councilwoman Cosby Hurley. Okay, Mr. Sharpie.
Was this put out for bid?
Yes, there were 6 bids. This one was the lowest bid by quite a substantial amount.
Okay, thank you.
Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of Resolution 2012-151 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurley?
No.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 2012-154, Mr. Sharpie.
What is the 2012 temporary capital budget of the city of Linden?
Mrs. Zach.
The temporary capital is for two projects presently, for engineering projects to address our infrastructure of our roadways. We don't have an adopted permanent capital budget, so we have to pass a resolution for a temporary capital. And you'll also see two ordinances that'll be on for first reading in reference to these two projects.
Could any other streets be added?
Mr. Verchik would be able to answer that. He handles the requests for capital for streets.
Could a street be added onto this?
No, it's all been spoken for, and the amount of money is just for the 7 or 8 streets that we have that were approved back in last fall.
Okay, I got one that's really in bad shape and hasn't been done in years.
Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of Resolution 2012-154 and request a second.
Mr. Kalbus?
Yes.
Kozio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Resolution 2012-156, Pat Hero.
Well, I generally approved of shared services agreements. I'm wondering how many do we have with other cities with regard to animal control?
Nancy?
Right now, we service 4 other towns besides Linden.
Are we at risk of spreading ourselves too thin?
Not at this point, I don't believe. So based on the data I received from Fanwood concerning their number of calls that they do.
Okay, thank you.
Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of Resolution 2012-156 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbus?
Yes.
Kozio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 2012-157, Ms. Malik.
Just a three-part question on this. What do these taxes actually include? What's the magnitude of them? And how much revenue would you anticipate would be brought in by these taxes?
Mr. Bodak.
This was the old gross receipts tax that the city used to receive, and back in the 80s, the base amount was capped off, and the state was getting the larger part of the increase, but the city was supposed to be getting part of the increase. Over the last several years, the various governors have decided to keep their portion and the city's portion. The taxes are being paid by the utilities, and this is a resolution in support of efforts by the League of Municipalities to make the state share that money again the way the formula calls for.
So how much money do you think that this would be coming in?
I
You
would
have any
have to
idea?
defer to Mrs. Zak on that.
Yeah, we don't have a calculation. I believe the league's estimation is about 500 million was, statewide, was diverted this year, so.
So 500 million for the state?
But the state diverted 500 million
Million.
that in the past had gone to municipalities.
Okay. And like our piece of the pie,
Again, I
just,
don't have the numbers.
I mean,
There's a
$1 million,
formula.
I mean, just
We have no idea what the individual municipalities would be.
when do you think that you would know, actually? Because this is part of your budgeting, and, no?
No, this is just a resolution supporting a action by the League of Municipalities to lobby for the restoration. It's still up to the legislature and the governor.
Would this be enacted this year, do you think?
That's up to the legislature and the governor.
Mañana, okay.
Thank you. Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for approval of Resolution 2012-157 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbus?
Yes.
Kozio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. We're going to move into ordinance on first reading. The council, in order to take into consideration public input into proposed ordinance, will allow 3 minutes for each individual to speak on the ordinance on first reading. The council will not answer any questions, and everyone is reminded that the public hearing on each of these ordinances will be held next month's council meeting. 5616.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 5, Animal Control, Dogs Running at Large shall be amended as follows. Delete Section 5-1.9 and add new Section 5-1.9A and 5-1.9B.
Any comments from the public? Motion, please. Please come up. 5616.
The woman just next to me just mentioned it, but this is a good point. When you have these numbers here, just to stipulate what does it represent, that would be helpful for the public, unless, if someone didn't read this, post it elsewhere. When you're adding the new this, what does that really represent?
Mr. Clerk.
It's just the different sections of that ordinance in the code book. So, for instance, the complete section, Chapter 5, there's dogs running at large. This is to add 2 more sections to that area of the ordinance. If you would like, I'll read both sections. Add 5-1.9A as follows. No person owning or keeping any dog shall permit it to be or to run at large upon any public street, place, or building, or upon premises other than those of the owner of such dog within the city, unless such dog shall be securely confined and controlled by an adequate leash not more than 6 feet long. The provisions of this section shall not apply to any property or park designated as a dog park by the City of Linden Department of Public Properties. Add Section 5-1.9B as follows. No person owning or keeping any dog shall permit it to be or to run at large in any public park. Nor shall any person owning or keeping a dog permit it, whether on leash or running at large, in any public park in the city where the Department of Public Property has posted signs prohibiting dogs in such park. The provisions of this section shall not apply to any property or park designated as a dog park by the City of Linden.
Thank you. May I have a motion to introduce the ordinance?
Yes, Mr. President, I move for an introduction to ordinance 5616 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colobus?
Yes.
Koziol?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5617.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7 Traffic, Section 7-10, Parking Prohibited at All Times on Certain Streets shall be amended as follows. Delete Style Street, both side, from Valley Road to Cranford City Line.
Comments on 5617? Sir, would you come up to the podium, state your name?
Dennis Kopecki over on Erudo Street. I'm not sure I understand the wording here. Are we saying that we're now going to allow parking on Style Street between Valley Road and the Cranford City Line, or we want to continue the prohibition that appears to be there?
Councilman Kaczynski?
Yeah, I had the same question when I saw this writing here, and I consulted with the city attorney. What is going to happen is it's going to be prohibited.
Continue to be prohibited, because there are signs there already, I've seen.
Right, in the fall, I guess, or, no, a previous council changed that a little bit and had some parking allowed there. They went to the county and then it came back, but now we're just reestablishing that it's prohibited.
Thank you.
Have a motion to introduce?
Yeah, Council President, I would move to introduce 5617 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colobus?
Yes.
Koziol?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
No.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5618.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 10, Building and Housing shall be amended as follows. Amend elevator subcode fees and certificate of occupancies for two-family dwellings.
Comments? I have a motion for introduction, please.
Council President, I move to introduce 5618 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colibus?
Yes.
Cosio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5619.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7 Traffic shall be amended as follows. Section 7-33 Handicap Parking Regulations, 7-33.1A Handicap Parking on Street, add 146 Cedar Avenue, 1 space, 2202 East Edgar Road, 1 space, which will actually be on McGilvery Place, for 2126 East Edgar Road.
Comments?
I move for the introduction of ordinance 5619 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colibus?
Yes.
Cosio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5620.
Bond ordinance authorizing the resurfacing of various streets and appropriating $440,000 and authorizing the issuance of $418,000 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost.
Comments, please? Motion to introduce.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for an introduction to ordinance 5620 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colibus?
Yes.
Cosio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5621.
Bond ordinance authorizing the resurfacing of DeWitt Terrace and Southwood Avenue, appropriating $495,000 and authorizing the issuance of $285,000 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost.
Comments, please? Motion to introduce.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for an introduction to ordinance 5621 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colibus?
Yes.
Cosio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5622.
An ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance Establishing a Schedule of Titles, Salary Ranges, and Regulations for Maintaining the Classification and Salary Standardization Plan of All Employees of the City of Linden," passed August 15th, 1995, and approved August 16th, 1995, established Schedule 4GG2.
Comments, please? Motion to introduce.
Yes, Mr. President, I move to introduce ordinance 5622 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colibus?
Yes.
Cosio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5623.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7 Traffic, Section 7-22.1, four-way stop intersections shall be amended as follows. Add East Henry Street and Washington Avenue.
Comments? Motion, please.
I make an ordinance for 56-23 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colibus?
Yes.
Cosio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Frazier?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Okay, we're going to move into comments from the public. Comments from members of the public in attendance on city business only. No personal, political, derogatory comments not to exceed 5 minutes. Jolanda River, 1417 South Stiles Street. Would you come up, please?
This one's for me.
3 minutes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Yolanda Rivera, and I live at 1417 South Stiles Street. I have two complaints here. One of them, I just want to give you a little history about what made me come to Linden. When I came to Linden, I looked at history on schools and, of course, education, sports. I have two daughters. Both of them are graduated already from school, and I'm very proud of the school in Linden. The reason why I'm saying this is because when I bought this house, I want to make sure that I know what I was moving into. So far, every time I had a problem with the city, I've always called and complained, and I've gotten great results. This is a problem that's been going on, and I've been living in this house for 14 years. 4 years ago, I had this complaint about truck drivers. I live on 15 in Stiles Street. My house faces across the street from the parking lot. I have truck drivers that come and they park there. Now, just a little bit of what's been going on. You have trucks that has the flatbed with the cars in them. They come out, they take the cars out, they switch into cars back and forth, like if that's a garage for them. Okay? Not only that, they come in there in the middle of the night. Now, I have two jobs. I work very hard. And I don't think that I need to be woken up by a truck driver that's having intercourse in the truck. And I'm hearing this loud noise, waking me up across the street. The reason why I'm bringing this up again is because it's starting to add up again. Now, I called Sheehy. Sheehy gave me good advice what to do. I called the police department. I had a little bit of problem, but then I got a hold of Verona, and Verona, I gotta say, he really did what he said he was gonna do. My concern is, please, I need to sleep at night. Either they put up big signs with these huge lights. I don't care what is it that they need to do there, but please, I'm begging for something to be happening there because it's just too much going on. The other day, I had called Pavone and I told him, you know, what's going on. And as soon as the police officer came, got rid of that truck, 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, there goes another one. You know, this is an ongoing thing. And they think it's fine to park their truck there. Not only that, they leave their truck engine running and they leave. Go to the hotel, come back 8 hours later. It's not fair to me that I have to work and I have to get up in the middle of the night to hear this. Now the summer's coming up and I need to open my windows and get some fresh air, not smell those diesel smell coming into my home. You understand what I'm saying? And it's an ongoing thing, and I'm sorry,
Councilman
and I'm
Sadowski?
fed up with it.
Okay. Yolanda, excuse me. Listening to your tale, I really feel sorry for you, because in the 6th Ward, right on Stiles Street, by the old food fair, these people have been complaining the same thing you have for the last 2.5 years. Except there's the old food fair. They have at least 50 trucks there. And it's the same thing that you said. The truck's idle, the smoke comes over, the gas fumes. It's a nightmare, just like you're saying. Now, I know the Board of Health has been going out there, helped the people. They've called the county. The county has been going out to help, but I think it has to be a whole thing, but we're still putting up with this. This is private property that this is on, but it's the same thing. Truck drivers come in, there's laws that they can't let the truck idle like that. Can't let it, it's against the law.
I must say that, you know, if someone tells you something, I believe it. Now, I did believe what she has done. I have called him several times. He's telling me anytime in the middle of the night, and I feel bad for his wife, but I've left the messages. Listen, this is what's going on. Sometimes they're there from that night all the way to the morning.
Councilman
You know,
Sheehy,
the
you
police
wish to
officers
make
come and
a
they tell them they
comment
have
on
to go. What they do, they go all the way around the back of,
Councilman Sheehy, you'd like to make a remark.
I'm sorry?
Oh, that's all right. Thank you. I want to thank you for coming here so people can understand what the people of the 7th Ward live with. You know, and, you know, some people might think it's not, you know, a big deal, but it is. It's affecting the quality of your life.
Exactly.
And you've called me, and I've told you, you know, please keep calling the police department when they're out there. actually, the sooner you can call, the better, as soon as they park. And you've called me, went over there and banged on doors and woke them up, and they're doing the nasty in the truck. And, we try to move them on. And I think Chief Pavona is working with us on it. Actually, this morning or yesterday morning, they did put the signboard out in the parking lot. I haven't seen it.
I haven't
was
either.
told by Captain Bobolski that it's out there.
But where
So
is this sign? Because,
it's in the parking lot on Stiles Street. I'm going to try to observe it on the way home. It was just put there this morning.
no, I'm
where,
sorry, is it, there were lights or something that
Yeah,
you can see?
it's the
Because truck,
signboard.
they only see but so much when they're up there.
No,
You
it's
know?
the message board that lights, that blinks.
Uh-huh.
We're going to try that. So, you observe it tonight and see if it's in a good spot, and I'll observe it. If you didn't see it, I'm not, because I
And
would say,
you know me.
I asked to put on the corner of 15th and Stiles in that area, because that's where the trucks do park. And it's a nuisance. It's just like the shopping carts. These shopping carts lay all over our ward. Some people think it's nothing, but it's a nuisance, and it's terrible. And we do need to police it. Little things like that, make a good community.
I used
And-
to have a lot of them in my front lawn, and I would complain and nothing, and then finally they just disappeared because now they have like alarms or something, which that's awesome.
Councilman Sadowski?
Like I said, I really have empathy with you. Maybe together we could do something, but I've been up on Stiles Street, 4:30 in the morning, counting the trucks idling, or counting the trucks still going in out the gates. And I know the city is trying their hardest, the Board of Health is there, they've been giving them summonses, but like I said, I'm talking about private property. I don't know if yours is private property, but
But I
think-
must say that, the police, they are doing their job.
right.
I've seen it. It's not, I'm just saying it just to say it, but I have, because this one night, this was about 2 o'clock in the morning, the click, click, click of the truck woke me out of my bed. And I was so annoyed because I was in a good sleep. And I don't think it was fair that I had to get up to deal with this. I called the police department, and I'm going to tell you, they came. It took them a little bit, but they came, and they cleaned house from all over, Target, all over. They were just cleaning. I was just seeing them just coming right out of the parking lot. And I'm seeing, I said, see, this is what I want to see.
Councilman Brown?
Yeah, I just have a question, because I know in certain streets we have a weight limit as far as the trucks. Is it possible to have this weight limit? And I mean, I know this was a problem, and you just ticket them if you go down the street. If they're over the weight limit, just ticket them.
Chief?
There's no parking on Stiles Street, the whole length of Stiles Street, from the highway
Down.
to the railway line. It's, they're actually parking on the mall parking facility in that case. But I do have a problem on 20th Street with truck parking. I have it on 21st Street, Clinton Street. It's a major problem that we live with, that we shouldn't have to live with in the 7th Ward. And again, I'd like to thank you for coming up here and staying under control and putting your point across. I
Well, I'm
appreciate
paying my
that.
taxes, not only
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
I'm
thank
a
you.
hardworking woman.
Yes, you are.
I work 2 jobs, and I don't think that I need to be woken up by this. And my next thing is, Stiles Street and 15th Street. When you're making, if you're on 15th Street and you're making that left, the reason why I'm saying this because several times I almost got into an accident. If you're on Stiles Street and you're making that right into, if you're on 15 and you're going on Stiles Street, a lot of the cars, they don't see when they're going to turn, they make that Y turn. The reason why I'm saying that because I'm coming down Stiles Street, and as they're turning here, they almost hit me. Now, you had several accidents there already for this month. You know what I'm saying? Is there something that you can put out there in the street, or where they can see that this is the area where they can turn, and this is where I can turn?
Chief,
You know?
do you have a remedy that we can offer? Can you use the mic?
I'll have the traffic bureau go out there tomorrow and take a look at what you're saying. They could either paint it or do something to see if, what could satisfy this.
Right. I know I said two things, but another one just came to me.
And we have a 3-minute.
I'm sorry. I barely come, but I need to.
Okay, if you could.
That stop sign that you have there, that you're coming out of the parking lot where the theater is at there, and you're going into Stiles Street, you gotta have some kind of blinker lights or something there, because they're going through those lights, and a lot of cars.
Chief, can you take that in as far as the part of the investigation for the traffic also?
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cynthia Crosby. Dennis Kopecky.
Good evening, all. Dennis Kopecky, we're up on Erudo Street. I, first of all, would like to share the city's enthusiasm for all the people who were honored today. In particular, I certainly cite Mrs. Bannister's 107th birthday occasion, but in a larger sense, I also remember Councilwoman Cosby Hurling's remark about hopefully a lot of other citizens in the city of Linden will make it to 107, but I'm afraid the taxes are going to kill them first before they get to 107. I am very disappointed to hear from Councilwoman Cosby Hurling that the variance on the Budget Committee is still 1.9 million over the 2% cap. Folks, you had a 4% increase on the 2011-2012 taxes that we're suffering through right now. I don't see where you can justify just trying to meet the cap. I think you already got your 2% from last year on this year's tax bill. You should be coming out flat with the budget. There shouldn't be a tax increase this year based upon the 4% you took last year. And yes, I know there are exceptions in the governor's law, but I don't think the city government should be looking to raise the taxes any bit. You owe us money from last year, in so many words. Unfortunately, I'm afraid that, well, okay, thank goodness we had a very nice winter that we didn't have to deal with the possibility of more overtime for snow removal and things like that. So theoretically, that part of what went into the costs for the city this past season seemed to be, I hope, already paid off, taken care of, and forgotten about. And nothing's going to say that next winter we're going to be just as lucky. I honestly have to say that in considering the budget and considering the talk that we had last fall with regard to getting a city administrator, I can save the city a lot of money, because I'll tell you what the city administrator will tell you right now. Corporate America bothers to cut their expenses by some attrition. Last year we had 6 or 7 firemen and policemen who retired, disabled, whatever, and we replaced them man for man. You had 13 people leave, you had 13 people come on again. I'm sorry, folks, but corporate America probably would have said, no, I think you have to get by with less. Now, I don't know what's ahead this year as far as people who will be leaving or disabled or whatever, but I don't think the budget should automatically put into the idea that, oh, we're going to replace them man for man. That's not right. It's time to start looking and saying we need a flat, no increase tax bill this coming year, and that's it.
Mr. Brown, could you make a comment, please?
Please. Speak.
Now, this year I've been quiet on the budget because, I mean, while we're up here, I'm looking over the budget as we're going through the meetings here. That's one of the things that disturbs me is no one's caught that yet, is that we're worried about just making the 2% cap, which a lot of people don't understand. That's still a tax raise. So in my opinion, we're still over. I mean, we should be looking at not raising taxes. One of the things I've been quiet about, but I'm going to be more vocal about this year, is a lot of people don't understand the way that we've done our budget in the past. I call it that we've overtaxed. If you look on the budget, and the budget document's not out yet, but just last year alone, if we go based off last year's budget, we appropriated $96 million, roughly. However, we spent $91 million. We do this consistently where we overtax or overappropriate, and then we wind up having a surplus. That surplus we use then as revenue. One of my suggestions, what I would like to see is that maybe we reduce the amount that we're appropriating, because that appropriation is a direct correlation of how much we raise your taxes by. So what has been the theory is we maximize on how much we can raise taxes by so that we can put some money in the bank towards next year's budget. The economy is slow. Everyone's hurting. People aren't getting increases at their job. People are getting laid off. We need to change that strategy, and I've been saying this for a while. So just, roughly looking at putting anywhere between 6 million and 6.5 of surplus from last year in this year's budget, which in my opinion, that means that $6 million was overtaxed. Now, people may disagree, but nevertheless, the old ways of us doing the budget is clearly not working.
Council President, can I make
Mr. Cozio, first, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you. Dennis, if I may, you heard me during my report mention that although there's a lot of work being done, there's a lot of work yet to do. We had a little unsettling meeting the other night because there's some differences of opinion on how to present the budget. It's being worked on, and what we do every year is what I consider, for lack of a better term, is a carryover budget. Let's go back to the departments. This is what you had last year. Where can you cut this year? We need more, we need more, we need more. I brought an idea up last year, brought the idea up again this year, that we try a zero-based budget, which means instead of working with what you had the previous year, you start at zero. You take the money that you currently have on hand and you build up and you give the department heads the money and you say, what can we purchase with this in services, in personnel, etc. We get to that point, and if they come back and say, well, we're going to have to sacrifice the service, we're going to have to sacrifice some personnel. Now, granted, we are contractually obligated to certain people, salaries, benefits, pension obligations, that's a given. But if we see that we just don't have this money, and we don't, we're going to have to make some tough decisions, whether it's going to be furloughs. We had a layoff plan in preparation to be in place in case we had to modify tables of organization, which I still think we can and should do. Okay? Even though we have attrition, what's going to happen is with a layoff plan, the lower tier workers are going to go. We have to modify a layoff plan and plans where middle and top tier people eventually go. Now, we are working 30% less than where we were several years ago, so our workforce is smaller and what I believe more effective. And you heard me also say we're going to get together, Consolidation Committee and Mr. Sheehy and some of the department heads to see whether some of the initiatives we had a year or so ago still make sense. So please believe me when I tell you we're trying different things, but I'm of the opinion without any significant new ratables coming into the city and being realized in at least the next year or two, we have to spend the money we have. That's it. If you run a household, and we're the custodians of a $100 million budget, household budget, if you will. And we don't have, I mean, if you run your household budget, who do you have to go? I mean, are you going to go to your neighbor and say, you know, I'm going to borrow from you, or you're going to pay for the, no. That's what this council typically does. We can go to the taxpayer for it. Enough is enough. We've done it. Let's spend what we have. It's going to be tough and it's going to be tight.
Could I change that?
Sure.
May we spend what we take in? There's a difference between spend what we have and spend what we take in.
Mm-hmm.
In my own interpretation.
Well,
and I hope the others see it that way too. We only take in 50 million. We cannot spend 100 million no matter what services we have to.
Well, over the course of a year, we do have to be cognizant of what we do spend and we do bond. We're going to have to make that up, and we can't worry about that, you know, come January, February, and March. And here we are in the middle of March, and we're still almost $2 million over. So a zero-based budget is an eye-opener, but we have to spend what we have.
So, Mr. Kopecky, we've directed the treasurer to go back and come back with a no tax increase budget.
Could I refer the rest of the city to the story of Joseph? I believe those who read the Bible will find that there were 7 years of plenty and 7 years of lean. Well, we've had about 10 years of plenty when we had the dot-com revolution, if you want to call it that. We're in the lean years. We've got planned closings. we've got unemployment benefits, we've got unemployment benefits that have run out, and we've got foreclosures. What makes anyone think that those of us who are still around and working can pay even more? Again, spend only what you take in.
Mr. Kopacki, what we've charged the treasurer with to come back with a new budget with no tax increase and with cuts in services. So that's something.
It may have to be. We talked about sacrifices earlier this evening.
Absolutely.
I don't dispute that. If we have to go to 1 day a week garbage collection, well, the only comment I've gotten from that from the people I've talked to is say, yeah, increase our trash day pickups, which, going from maybe 6 to 4 hurts.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Council President. I'd just like to correct a few things, Dennis, that you had stated. I want you to realize that we have been cutting expenses for several years now. Just so you understand, I've been the mayor for 5 years, and with the support of council over those 5 years, we've cut through attrition 83, I repeat, 83 full-time positions and 15 part-time positions. Again, that's a considerable amount of personnel, and 65% of your budget is personnel. We've reduced the fire department by 12 people. We've reduced the police department by 10 people. There comes to a point where you get diminishing returns once you've hit a tipping point in reducing your personnel, and now we're at that tipping point where if we start reducing any more personnel after 5 years of reducing 83 full-time people through attrition, it's going to impact the services. Now, what services do you want to impact? That is up for debate. And this is issues that we got to make hard decisions on, and that's what this governing body and myself are going to have to do.
Let me suggest, and what you say is absolutely right. I'm not disputing what you're saying. Let me suggest that perhaps one other thing that needs to be added to the process is an incremental cost analysis. In other words, remember last year I think we bought something like 5 or 6 of these flashing signs to put on our streets, and I think they were, what, $35,000 each or something like that? I don't remember the exact number. Do we know what the incremental cost of one of those $35,000 signs would have been if we added to somebody's tax bill? In other words, of the 42,000 residents, let's say, and that's only a number I'm pulling out of the air, divide that 35,000, well, that would increase the tax bill something like about 8 cents.
Okay.
In so many words. That kind of analysis, I think, has to go in before we decide what we can spend or what we can save. And if I cut out this service, we know it's going to be $120,000 for the sake of a number on an annual basis, spread over those same 42,000. Gee, we just saved ourselves maybe about 30 cents, let's say.
But you got to also realize that costs go up, fixed costs go up, utilities go up. We're paying $13.5 million in health benefits, which our employees get free of charge, and we can't do anything until the end of 2013 when the contract expires. Then we're guaranteed that our employees are going to pay a certain percentage. We pay $400,000 just to have the privilege of using water in the fire hydrants. We pay $1 million in lighting for the entire city. So there's fixed costs that constantly go up year after year, and we got to cover them. Besides breakdowns with garbage trucks, with new fire engines. Again, these are the issues that you have to take into account, and when you cut personnel any further, then you're going to have to reduce services, like you say, once a week garbage. Can we afford to reduce any more cops? Can we afford to reduce any more firemen? These are hard issues that it's going to be tough for this governing body to deal with.
I agree. However,
We have a comment from Mr. Brown, please.
Yeah, a couple of things.
I'm sorry.
No.
I didn't see your
It's all right. I mean, I've mentioned this last year, and I keep mentioning it. We need financial reform in Linden. You bring up an excellent point, spend what we have. What we've done, and when I hear this, well, we've cut expenses, no. Expenses weren't cut. Appropriations were cut. And so there's a difference between the two, because if we spent $91 million last year, but we're looking to appropriate $96 million this year, you didn't cut expenses. You just cut what you appropriated the year prior. You're not cutting what you actually spent. So that's misleading, in my opinion. The second issue is that going back to what you said, which I believe in, we can anticipate how much money we're going to bring in. Our budget should be focused on how much we anticipate coming in, not how much we anticipate in spending. Because what they do is they say, all right, we anticipate spending $96 million. Now we have to raise funds to meet that 96. Rather than the reverse is, we anticipate 91 coming in, let's then make the expenses come up to that 91 million. But we keep doing the reverse. And as a result, it's not working. The evidence is, if you look at the surrounding towns, they've changed what they've done. And Linden is the highest as far as the surrounding towns and the tax, as far as tax increases. I mean, for the last 10 years, this is, the numbers are out there. We have to change what we're doing, and we've been asking over and over again for simple reform measures that have been knocked down by certain individuals.
Mr. Kozia.
Dennis, quickly, I don't want to drag the point out, but it comes down to revenue. For years, you said, there were lean years, there were fat years. When the money was there, of course, the money was spent.
And nobody will
Okay?
object.
When, as the mayor, you hear the mayor speak about, the General Motors, the Annalines, the Gordon's Gin. When the money was there, people worked, people made good salaries, people, they could afford their cars, their homes. It was a simpler time. It's more complicated now. Everything's more complicated, plus the economy is awful. Okay? But what is lacking and what Linden did not concentrate over the years, because of course you don't concentrate when you don't need to, is increasing revenue, looking for new sources of revenue. Just in, Councilman Collins had left, Blockbuster just went out. We have the old Pathmark that is empty. The Bank of America just left. There's rumor about Pathmark going out. Every week, every month, Linden is losing a business. It's losing a rateable. And we need somebody out there, we need an entity out there to take a look at these properties, work with the realtors and developers, and get people into this city to occupy these spaces to make us useful again. Thank God I have some development going on in the second ward. I wish everybody that, but we have to concentrate on developing and enhancing revenue to offset the spending. That's it. That's what it comes down to.
It's not going to become any easier for the taxpayer to turn around and come up to the kind of increase that you're looking forward to, regardless of the conditions, which you are absolutely right on. These are tough times. We're agreeing with you.
Okay.
That is not.
Time's up. Thank you very much. Virginia Malik.
I wasn't going to speak, but Dennis, I agree with you 100% with what you're saying. I just have two questions. When we're talking about this 2%, that just covers, I think Adam Kaczynski confirmed for me, that 2% is only on our municipal budget, correct? The cap. So our municipal budget is like 36 or 30 some odd % of the total budget. Out of the $91 million, how much is actually just the municipal portion in the percentage? Versus the board, right.
Okay. Well, but before you get to that, and Alexis, can you explain, because this 2%
She's not here.
Oh, she left.
Basically,
One of
what
the
is our
things
tax bill made up?
Last year, I believe it was close to like
All right.
20-some odd
Okay, but the
percent.
point I'm trying to make is we're talking about our municipal budget and the 2%, okay?
2% just affects our municipal portion.
Right, a municipal portion, okay?
The Board of Education has their own budget.
Correct.
The
And so
county has
we're,
their own budget, and they all have, they're all.
I understand that. So the municipal budget is just, it's a smaller piece of the pie. So we're saying the 2%, and that's 2%. Do we have that much control over the Board of Ed? No, okay? So I just want to emphasize that, to go to the zero base on that, because when people say, oh, we're going to cap it at 2%, that's just maybe 36, less than 40% of our total budget, all right? You're still going to have the county throw in their take. You're going to have the Board of Ed.
Yes.
So you got to start thinking about that. The next thing, this is for Mr. Roth on here. Someone had said, or correct me if I'm wrong, has the negotiation for pay salaries for our city employees, has that been finalized? And is there a percent salary increase been determined?
Mr. Roth?
I'm not sure I followed this. The contract settled.
And what is the
depending on the
anticipated salary increase for our city workers?
I can tell you I can tell you the percentages, but I can't tell you the. I don't know the dollar. I don't have the dollar.
Not the dollar, but the percent increase.
The civilians got 395. The uniform staff got 3.5.
Okay. And was there much concessions on both parties? Because that's a lot when you look at, 3.5% to 4%. And is that for, how many years is that for?
Well, this year, you recall, the police and fire gave zeros in the first 2 year of 5-year agreement, which was still unprecedented. We appreciate the police and Deputy Chiefs back there. We do appreciate the zeros that they gave, because that, as they know, I'm not telling any secrets, that's cumulative. So every time we get a zero, we don't have to build on the percentages on that. So that was a significant cost savings.
How many years was that for again, please?
2 years.
2 years,
And then
okay.
the civilian staff, the DPW workers, blue-collar workers gave us a third zero as well.
However, Mr. Roth, she's asking, how long did the contract run for? How many years?
Contract runs for
The current
5
one.
years. It's over
5 years.
5-year contract.
December
Okay, so they
13th.
gave up 2 years, but they're going to get 3.5% to 4% for the next 5 years.
No. It's 2 years of zeros.
Zeros.
Blue collar gave us 3. Then
Okay.
we have another 2 years. It's up.
So it's
at the
another
end
2 years of
December
zero.
13th. I'm sorry? 0, 0.
Zero.
Depending on, it depends on the unit, but it's 0, 0, percentage raise, percentage raise, percentage raise.
Okay, so for the next 3 years, it's going to be
Well,
that
no,
percent?
it's only 2 more,
Oh,
because
2 more.
we're in
3 years.
our
Okay,
4th
gotcha.
year.
Okay, all right, so my question was, for how many years that percentage? So you explained.
Some bargaining units, this was 3 years of a percentage increase, and for the blue collar, it was 2.
Was there much discussion on give and take between the union and,
The negotiations.
This
The
was,
negotiations.
contract was established in a prior administration.
Contract negotiations lasted, depending on unit, anywhere between 18 months and 2 years.
So you said the previous administration,
Negotiated this contract.
so when you talk about the mayor's administration, or what? Who's it when you talk about the previous administration?
The previous city council
Council
president.
Okay. So
So-
my question is, so how much give and take was on both sides? I mean, what was thrown up, what was given up on one side? I'm just raising this because
It's been a
there's...
couple years, Ms. Bell. I don't have my notes, but there were monetary concessions, there were certain health benefit concessions. We made changes to the prescription plan. There were concessions made.
And monetarily, what are we talking about? Do you have a dollar value for these concessions?
No, I don't.
No size for bread box or? Okay.
You're asking me something that
Okay.
ma'am, I'm not A, prepared for, and B, some of the things I can't quantify because they're at escalating costs, such as
Right.
concessions in the prescription plan. Can't necessarily put a specific dollar
Sure.
value on it because it moves every
Okay,
year.
but has anyone on the city council, the questions that I'm asking, have those questions been asked of Mr. Roth, or has that gone into your thought process in looking at your budget? That's my final question.
Yeah. Mr. Malik, we part of what we talked about when you talk about zero-based budget, and again, it's starting not with a carryover, but it's zero and working up. So you're taking a look at your structure, your personnel structure, and basically adding money to it to see what we are buying, because I think A lot of times, tables of organizations can be justified, but when you break it down to the service the city gets on a daily basis, and again, it comes down to accountability and justifying every position that you have, could a city work with less? In many cases, it can, okay? But we were considering, and it was brought up for impact negotiations, to begin immediately to see if certain bargaining units could come to the table, because we have to get some of those concessions. We have to try to get some of those concessions, because those are the big numbers that are really, really impacting the budget. It's benefits, it's the obligations that the city has right now. Currently, as you heard the mayor say, a lot of it is personnel. But that's where it is. You could just cut so many trucks, so many cars, so much equipment and supplies. It comes down to take a look at where the money is. And unfortunately, we just, as we said to Dennis, you don't have the money to fund those obligations.
Mr. Byrne?
All right. Ms. Malik, you bring up a couple of good points, and everyone's bringing up good questions when it comes to the budget. But two things, because when you start hearing this, I think it's important residents know. When you talk about the 2% cap, that's one side of the budget. But also on the other side of the budget, there's things that are excluded from that cap that can make your taxes increase. And I mention that for a reason, because you mentioned the school board budget and how proportionate we are to them. I did an analysis, and if you or anybody else, they can email me, and I looked at the last couple of years, our budget compared to the school, compared to the county. Our budget has, and the tax rate has increased faster than the school board budget, faster than the county, and as a result, over the last couple of years, the portion of your tax bill that's come from the municipality has increased. So, I understand everyone looks at the school board budget saying it's a large number, which it is. However, their level of increase in taxes has been significantly slower. Last time I checked, I think they were around, from 2007 to 2011 was an 8% increase. Ours was around about a 34% increase. So, if you want, you can email me this, send me an email, or anybody can. I'll give you the analysis that I did, where you look at the tax rate increase. We have been higher than the school board education. As a result, your tax bill has become a larger part of the municipal level.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Mr. Sharpie? You have 3 minutes.
Paul Sharpie, this is addressed to the chief. Chief, I was in your office a couple weeks ago, am I correct? About complaints in front of School 1, why there are no slow-down emergency signs, no school bus signs, because there's a dropping of ball for students. I see them in other cities and municipalities. Here on Wood Avenue, I see none. I see lines across here for the main entrance of the school. There's no signs saying slow down or anything. I got lines not marked, not up to date, not yellow signs saying school ahead, zone ahead, or nothing. Every other city, any other municipality in the county have them. This town does not. The safety of children getting dropped off in front of School 1, they start at Henry Street and they proceed to the next site, and there's no sign saying that there's school even existing here. For how many years has this been without signs in front of that school? How many years, council, mayor? Requirement by law in front of a public school. Here, School 1, your oldest school in the city, does not have those signs.
We don't have anybody school 6 or school 2 either. The same route.
Thank you. And also, I was approached the chief about Washington Avenue. No slow down in front of Lawson Park. My kids and other kids go there every day to school. Commercial vehicles blocking the sign which says school crossing, children crossing. No signs like they have like in Roselle Park and other cities. Signs, little
1 minute, sir.
signs, ridiculous. And as for the budget, the city council, I recommend that you cut from the top, not the bottom. Because without those out there in the street cleaning and keeping your city clean and functioning, I think all departments should cut from the top, not from the bottom. Us blue-collar workers out here, you need them. You gotta cut from The fat cats on the top of the building, okay? In-house here. Also recommend furloughing. The city should close down on Fridays throughout the summer months. Maybe that could, you know, a little bit of furloughing, keep them home. A lot of vacations are taken during the summer. I don't see a need for this building being open on Fridays. That's all.
Thank you. Pat Hero?
I also want to congratulate Mrs. Bannister on her life and her 107 years of it. Quite an amazing woman to think that she was alive when the Titanic sank. Quite amazing. She was alive when World War I wasn't World War I, but was the Great War. She was alive before there was radio or television. Just think about all the things she's seen in her life. What an amazing woman. Now I'd like to get on to an amazing individual, Councilman Jack Sheehy. Councilman Sheehy had a meeting, a public meeting. It was very good of him to have a public meeting because it seems that he likes to keep the public informed, which I think is essential when it comes to government. There's a facility called Earth Care. They want to establish a medical waste facility. And so he gathered the principals of that firm together, had people come in to ask questions and to discuss it. It's very good. I've been in the rooms with you when I saw you as the council, and quite frankly, you looked somewhat desperate. You have a budget problem, you know that. And I noticed fear. For the first time, actually, I saw fear in some of your eyes. Because you're figuring out, my word, we've got this big, enormous budget deficit. How are we going to get it down? Sometimes desperate times do not require desperate measures. Unfortunately, sometimes you're inclined to leap at the first thing that comes along. Yes, we need ratables, but sometimes maybe not those ratables. I'm going to be talking about that more in the coming probably next meeting. But what I want to address is the issue of the fact that one of the solutions to this problem is to move the municipal garage. Well, it's not moving the municipal garage, and maybe that's the problem. You see, you want to move DPW to the municipal garage. Does it make sense to move a larger facility into a smaller area? It seems to me you make a smaller facility into the larger area. And I think Councilman Sheehy is right. We need a committee to discuss this because there's a lot of assumptions that are being made about this by the mayor and maybe by some of the council people that I don't know are valid. So I think we should take a good look and look at Earth Care, look at the proposal that they have, and look at the proposal to have the municipal garage stay where it is and have the DPW garage move into it. Again, I'll be talking about this more probably next month, but I don't think that's a good idea at all because I think it's going to increase a lot more cost than we have.
Mr. Sheehy, you want to respond to the committee?
Yes. The council president formed a committee. The real estate committee is going to be looking into this, and I'd like to have a couple citizens, go with us with this committee and meet with us too.
Mr. Kozia?
Thank you. Council President, I'd just like to address Ms. Hero's comments. Perhaps during my report, she didn't hear my recommendation as part of the Consolidation Committee wanted to get together. Do you remember, Pat? I wanted to get together with Councilman Sheehy, Mr. Fakiti, Mr. McDonald. We're going to talk about whether it is feasible. Looking now, we're not at the same place we were a year and a half ago. We're 30% down in personnel. It has dragged on this plan for a year and a half to 2 years for a variety of reasons. We're going to look at it again openly, objectively, and see if it still makes sense. All right? I don't know if you remember hearing that, but it's contrary to what, so I'm misunderstanding you. That's what we're going to do, okay? Maybe we'll come to the same conclusion, perhaps we won't. But I don't think it's a foregone conclusion as of yet, as something did not happen yet, we're going to look at it again to see if it still does make sense. We have different leadership in one very crucial department. We're going to need that feedback. We're going to take a look at it again, and we're going to see what we could do. Okay?
Councilman Brown?
Ms. Hero, you bring up a good point. I mean, Earth Care is one issue. The other issue is moving down. Last night, I don't think you were there, but I brought up the fact in our, as we're going over the budget, one of the things that stuck out to me, $275,000. $275,000 that the Personnel Finance Committee wants to bond in order to move the Public Works down to the municipal garage, and it's listed as upgrades. These are things that we need to really look at this point. And, if it's money that we don't need to spend now, we don't need to spend it now. Because if we could spend $275,000 fixing a building in order to make a move, well, then if you can justify that, then we should be spending money out on the streets making improvements. That's just my personal philosophy. But what I've asked the treasurer to do, and I asked yesterday, is I want an analysis on how much we've put into this move already, how much we're looking to do currently now, and how much is in the future. Because it all comes down to dollars and cents. If it's not something that's essential, we don't need to do it now. We're spending money, in my opinion, and not looking at, well, what's it going to cost us down the road? A perfect example of thinking differently is this morning we had a meeting, the LIA, and a gentleman from the Port Authority was there, and someone brought up the ARC tunnel. And he said, listen, he said, one of the reasons why that was nixed, that plan, was because of when we looked at that and we projected out how much it was going to cost us, it didn't make any sense. Well, the city of Linden needs to look at that now is when we do our budget, not just this year, we need maybe a 3-5 year budget, being able to predict how much are we going to spend on salaries, how much are we going to be able to spend on insurance, and on these capital improvement projects. Does it make sense at this point? So I'm against the move right now because it's costing us too much money right now.
Thank you. The following council meetings will be as follows. Council conference meeting Monday, April 16th, 2012 at 6 p.m. in the council conference room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council conference meeting prior to the council meeting. Tuesday, April 17th, 2012, 6 p.m. in the council conference room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council meeting Tuesday, April 17th, 2012 at 7 p.m. in the council chambers, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Second. Have a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus. Koziel. Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Frazier.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. Good night, everybody. Thank you for coming out.